In the world of cultivation, longevity is hard-earned. While others must risk their lives to progress, this man relies solely on the junk he scavenges within the sect. For the sake of his fiancée, the Saintess, he poured out his wealth and his very soul, only to be cast aside and exiled to the most wretched waste pill room in the sect, realizing that in 10 days he will be expelled for his poor performance. Having failed to meet the standards, he will be forced to pack his belongings and leave. The entire sect is waiting to watch him become a laughingstock. Yet as this young man gazes upon the room filled with toxic waste pills and dregs, he begins to salivate. Heavens, he has struck gold. With a flick of his wrist, he produces a treasure-refining cauldron he scavenged from a roadside stall. In the dead of night, he slips into the back mountains to snatch 2 red-feathered chickens, extracts their monster cores, and tosses them into the cauldron. Truly incredible. While others wage bloody battles in secret realms for half a low-grade pill, this brat remains in the waste pill room, munching on Supreme Immortal Pills as if they were mere candy. So they refuse to let me depend on them? Fine then, I shall secure my own path to prosperity. The Guanshuan realm, Eastern region, Yao Guang Holy Land. The fate that bound us has reached its end. From this day forward, our marriage contract is annulled. If you agree, take this bag of spirit stones and leave the Holy Land. In the future, should you encounter trouble, out of respect for our family's past ties, I may assist you once. Within the humble servant's courtyard, a cold, solitary figure is shrouded in black robes. The woman places a storage bag before me. Her appearance is peerless, her eyes shining like the stars, and the faint fragrance drifting from her body instantly snaps me out of my daze. What is happening here? I have only just transmigrated. Before I could even taste the soft rice of a comfortable life, it has already vanished. Unwilling to accept this, I attempt to salvage the situation, hesitantly asking, do I truly have no chance left? I am now the Saintess of the Holy Land, while you possess only a first-grade spirit root talent. As a mere miscellaneous disciple, you and I belong to 2 entirely different worlds. To be blunt, you have none. Yamshui rejects me bluntly without the slightest hint of sentiment. I sigh inwardly. I thought I could lead an easy life while seeking immortality, but it seems that grand vision has now shattered. Very well then. Touching my belt, I realize that despite my poor talent, but with this treasure in my possession, it is not impossible for me to survive the heavenly tribulation and ascend to immortality. Very well, I agree, but I shall not leave this sacred ground. So, am I still worthy of keeping these spirit stones? My eyes flickered as I hesitantly reached for the storage bag, but Non-Mutuyet frowned and pulled her hand away. Why did I miss my grasp? I spoke with a sense of helplessness. I only wish to pursue the great Tao of immortality. Is such a request truly too much to ask? What does it matter if I only possess a first-grade spiritual root? Non-Mutui fell into a brief silence, then replied, in 10 days the Handyman Examination will be held. Whoever ranks last will be expelled. You will not pass. I was stunned, since when did the Handyman disciples implement a system to eliminate those at the bottom? I will submit a request to my master. Furthermore, regarding the affairs between us, I do not wish for a third person to know. If you dare to use my name for your own gain, do not blame me for being ruthless. Take care of yourself. She turned and departed, leaving me behind in a daze. She intentionally created this elimination rule just to drive me away, and even dared to warn me not to act under her authority. I immediately laughed in spite of my anger. Very well, all that wasted effort in my past life, treating you like a goddess and acting as your lowly servant. Yet in your heart I was nothing more than a piece of trash. Fine, you just wait for me. Sooner or later, I will annul our engagement in front of every disciple in this sacred ground. I slammed the door shut. Gritting my teeth, I walked toward the discarded pill chamber located halfway up the mountain. A place used to incinerate the failed elixirs of the sacred ground, constantly scorched by earth core flames. This was the most grueling and exhausting task at Handyman Peak. The heat was stifling, the smell was putrid, and the work was incredibly monotonous. I opened the hall door to find flames raging toward the ceiling, waves of heat lashing against my face. Chin Fan, the pot-bellied outer sect Handyman Deacon, watched as Meng Xiangwei walked in. This man was nicknamed Old Meng the Flayer. When it came to extortion and bribery, he was truly in a league of his own. I was slightly surprised. Deacon Meng, what brings you to my humble station today? An order from above has just been issued. 10 days from now, the Handyman Examination will be held, and whoever possesses the weakest cultivation will be expelled from the sacred ground. You had better prepare yourself, boy, and try to surpass the one currently ranked second to last. Meng Xianghui patted my shoulder with a cryptic look. Even though you only offered this deacon 100 taels of silver in the beginning, rest assured, I do not hold grudges. You know, between the 2 of you at the bottom, I value you the most. Inwardly, I sneered. That brother who is currently ranked second to last only offered 50 taels before, so he was cast aside to dig in the iron mines among the commoners. My 100 taels were, at the very least, enough to trade for a room in the waste pill quarters. Very well, do your best, he said. I am leaving now. It is far too hot here. This is no place for a person to reside. Meng Xianghui wiped the sweat from his brow and departed with hesitation, pulling the palace doors shut behind him. I sat down before the pile of discarded pills. The soul-guiding flames flickered within the furnace pit nearby, with the formation array occasionally erupting in bursts of fire. This place is prone to toxic fumes year-round, which are lethal to anyone who has not reached the foundation establishment stage, yet I possess only the most inferior first-grade 5-element spirit root. Compared to Non-Mu Shu, who possesses the 9th-grade ice spirit root, I am truly nothing more than a pathetic weakling. No sooner had he left than an assessment was issued. Once this woman decides to be heartless, she is truly devoid of all sentiment and loyalty. I could not help but admire her resolve. Had the non-clan not received the assistance of my family in the past, they would have been exterminated long ago. They would never have known the prosperity they enjoy today. But enough of that. I heaved a long sigh and looked upward. The most pressing matter at hand is to pass this assessment. I channeled the meager spiritual energy of my first level of chi refining. From my storage ring, I summoned a rusted bronze incense burner no larger than the palm of my hand. The two characters for refining treasure were carved into its lid. That I was able to transmigrate my soul to this world is entirely thanks to this roadside trinket. After dripping a drop of my blood to bind it last night, I realized this was an item of heaven-defying power. I activated the treasure refining furnace. As my thoughts stirred, a mechanical voice suddenly resonated within my mind. Treasure refining furnace energy insufficient. A demon core is required for immediate replenishment. Damn. To have such a modern piece of technology in a cultivation world, this is a challenge this brother will gladly test. I curled my lips into a smile. This furnace can turn waste into gold. I only need to feed it a first-grade demon core to refine a batch of first-grade waste pills into potent elixirs. If the waste pill quarters lack anything, it is certainly not waste pills. They are in abundance. As long as I possess enough demon cores, my resource requirements for the chi refining stage will be fully resolved. Demon cores. My eyes shimmered with a green glint. I have no money to purchase them, nor do I have the strength to hunt in the dangerous wilderness. However, I recall that the spirit feed hall at the rear mountain raises many first-grade red feather chickens. Those creatures are ignored by the outer disciples. Rather than letting them waste, it would be better if I helped consume them rather than letting these fatty riches go to waste. At dusk, I stealthily made my way into the back mountains. Though the moonlight was ethereal and the scenery like a celestial realm, I paid it no mind. My eyes were fixed solely on the flock of scarlet-feathered chickens. There they were, beast cores, so many beast cores. Tears of excitement nearly flowed from the corners of my mouth. I could no longer restrain myself. For tonight, I would feast. Without a moment's hesitation, I lunged forward with force. With my cultivation at the first level of chi refining, catching chickens was truly as easy as turning over one's hand. I grabbed one in each hand and decisively snapped their necks to ensure they could not cry out. I shall start with these two tonight and see how it goes. Once I confirm the results, I will return to acquire more. I triumphantly made my way back to the pill scrap room and extracted 2 beast cores, each the size of a grain of rice. If not for the faint fluctuation of spiritual energy I felt, I might have mistaken them for chicken excrement and tossed them aside. I decided to test a batch of origin-nurturing pills first. Selecting several failed, burnt pills from the furnace, I threw them into the treasure-refining cauldron and added the beast cores. The treasure-refining cauldron activated. It belched thick smoke and vibrated violently before finally calming down after a quarter of an hour. Eagerly, I opened the lid to find 9 perfectly round origin-nurturing pills, emitting a blinding crimson light. It had truly succeeded. I was so excited I held my breath, swallowed hard, and with trembling fingers, picked one up to feel the abundant spiritual energy within. There was no doubt about it. It had truly succeeded. This Taoist has finally done it. I was so deliriously happy, dancing and leaping about, knowing that even without the charity of the Saintess, this old master can still walk the path of immortality. After the initial rush of excitement, I did not hesitate to toss the medicinal pill into my mouth. Cultivate, from this day forward, the pill scrap room is my home, and no one shall drive me out. Even if the heavens themselves descend, I shall not yield. With a crisp crunch, I sat down cross-legged, circulating the Yao Guang 5 Elements Immortal technique to refine the medicinal power. But before long, my face turned as dark as the bottom of a scorched pot. Damn it, this spiritual root is far too feeble. I consumed an entire pill, yet the absorption rate is barely 10%. Among those who entered with me, many have already reached the second level of chi refining, while I remain lagging behind at the first. This will not do. I must continue consuming the pills. Gritting my teeth, I tossed another one into my mouth. If my spiritual root is insufficient, I shall make up for it with pills. I refuse to believe that even a second-stage chi refinement cultivator cannot overcome this hurdle. Relying on 2 medicinal pill furnaces to sustain me, I cultivated diligently throughout the entire night. Finally, as the sky began to brighten at dawn, a thunderous rumble echoed from within my body. I have achieved a breakthrough. At the second stage of chi refinement, I exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. The process was arduous, yet the outcome is bright. I have finally reached the second stage of chi refinement. With this, the Handyman Examination will surely go smoothly, but to keep pace with non-Musho, this is far from enough. Fortunately, I have a boundless supply of medicinal pills at my disposal. My stomach suddenly rumbled like a war drum as I stood up. A ravenous hunger overwhelmed me, having gone without food all night. I should swing by the spirit dining hall to fill my belly. Just as I was about to stride out the door, I came to a sudden halt. I looked toward the 2 piles of spoils left beside the fire pit. I nearly forgot about them entirely. These scarlet-feathered spirit chickens are prime treasures. They must not go to waste. Snap. While others settle for a simple breakfast, I feast in double portions. After finishing my roast chicken, there is still more to consume. The spirit dining hall offers nothing but the finest, essence-rich nourishment. I cannot afford to skip it. Once I finished the roast chicken, my lips slick with grease, I headed to the spirit dining hall to finish my meal with a few bowls of ginseng spirit porridge. During the day, I would remain swaddled in my blankets, sleeping in the waste pill room. When night fell, I would don my tattered robes once more, cover my face, and stealthily make my way to the back mountain. On the second night, after thoroughly mastering the treasure refining furnace, I caught 10 chickens in one go. This was not the limit of my capability, but rather the limit of my storage ring. Regardless, the earth core fire helps in disposing of all evidence. No one will be able to trace this back to me. I have lived this routine for 8 days, traveling a straight line between the waste pill room, the back mountain, and the spirit dining hall. By the night of the 9th day, I had broken through to the 4th stage of chi refinement, just one step away from the 5th. This cultivation base is more than enough to secure first place among the handymen, but in this life I am determined to plant my roots right here in the waste pill room. Just as I finished changing my clothes, preparing to head to the back mountain to stockpile more demon cores, before the tension could settle, the sound of footsteps echoed outside the door. I started in surprise, hastily pulling on my handyman's robe and feigning meditation. Meng Tong Hui, the deacon of the handyman, walked in with his hands clasped behind his back. Seeing me in such a state, he let out a sneer of contempt. I advise you, boy, do not waste your effort. With your meager talent, no matter how hard you cultivate, it will all be in vain. I stood up to greet him. Deacon Meng, what brings you to my humble quarters on such a fine day? Is the examination not taking place tomorrow? I have been entrusted by another to deliver something to you. Meng Xianghui tossed a pouch of coins at my feet. There are 50 taels inside, take it. Tomorrow, during the examination, you merely need to make a superficial show of effort and nothing more. I was stunned. Why? You ask me? I am the one who should be asking you. Meng Xianghui wore a look of deep bewilderment. You brat, you spend your days toiling in the waste pill room. When did you manage to offend an inner sect disciple? An inner sect disciple? I was completely bewildered. I am not aware of any such thing. I barely know anyone among the miscellaneous chores disciples. How could I be involved with an inner sect disciple? Then why would they send me here to warn you? Meng Xianghui looked at me with suspicion. That senior brother spoke to me personally. Either you take this money, make a show of things, and then depart from the sacred grounds, or he will have Wang Daibiao, who is at the 3rd level of qi refining, cripple you during tomorrow's examination. I panicked. A name flashed through my mind, Nan Mo Twit. Is this her doing? But to do so would be to openly reveal our connection to the world. No matter how I think about it, it does not seem right. Could it be that Zhang Dasan, who was sent away to the mines? That fellow only reached the 1st level of qi refining before me. He is likely afraid he will not pass the examination and is looking to stir up trouble. Very well, I have said all that needs to be said. Weigh your options carefully. This godforsaken place is truly no place for a person to reside. Meng Xiang wiped the sweat from his forehead and departed with a look of disdain. At that same moment, in the inner sect's Ziyun Peak, a disciple clad in green silk robes entered the courtyard of Feishan Pavilion. Senior brother, the matter you instructed me to handle has been taken care of. The young master in white placed his cup of spirit tea. Truth be told, the junior sister's judgment is truly lacking. To set her sights on a mere miscellaneous chores disciple, and even sneak away just to meet with him. It is fortunate that I discovered this. Had outsiders seen it and spread the rumors, one can only imagine the ridicule our Holy Land would face. The young master in white spoke in a calm tone. The junior sister has only just joined the Holy Land. Her narrow perspective is understandable. It will improve in time. That is indeed true. The disciple in brocade robes nodded curiously. But tell me, senior brother, how did you know the junior sister was sneaking out? The young nobleman's hand paused slightly, a flicker of unease crossing his face. The master tasked me with keeping an eye on her to ensure she does not slack off in her cultivation. Deep in the quiet of the night, behind the servants' quarters at the back mountain, Old Man Meng's warnings did nothing to dampen my enthusiasm for catching chickens. The wind blew harder, only fueling my desire to gather more. Swish, I swallowed hard, but just as I poked my head out of the grass, a chill ran down my spine. Clang, a sword was pressed against my throat. I jumped in shock. I am, after all, already at the 4th level of qi refining, yet someone had approached me without making a single sound. I have caught you red-handed, you chicken thief. No wonder the scarlet feather chickens have been dwindling these past 2 days. Turn around and take off that black cloth so I can see who you are. Which shameless person dares to come here to steal chickens? The woman shouted, patting my face with the flat of her blade. My face turned pale and I hurriedly said, Senior sister, please do not act rashly. This junior brother relies on this face to make a living. She spat in annoyance. Who is your senior sister? You chicken thief. By the light of the moon, I caught a glimpse of a face, elegant and ethereal, yet filled with a fierce spirit. Senior sister, I'm not a chicken thief. I only came here to relieve myself. Relieve yourself. Do you take me for a 3-year-old child? She widened her eyes and I said, I am truly not lying to you. If you do not believe me, look beneath your feet. Her beautiful face suddenly drained of color. She leapt back 3 zhang in a panic and looked down, only to find nothing there. She was immediately consumed by a fit of rage. Senior sister, I Wang Dabiao. No, I am Wang Dafa and I am definitely not a chicken thief. I simply wish to return freedom to these scarlet feather chickens. If I have spoken a single word of falsehood, then let Wang Dabiao take me. May the heavens strike me down. The fox was swift, so I grabbed 2 chickens while passing by and took to my heels. No one knows the escape routes in these back mountains better than I do. Wang Dabiao, you stop right there. Her face flushed with rage as she gave chase. Senior sister, watch your step, I shouted without looking back. She froze in fear for a moment, then gritted her teeth in fury. Wang Dabiao, you are as good as dead. You think you can just run away? You can hide from the monk, but you cannot hide from the temple. I am going to find Meng Xiangwei right now. You think this lady cannot track you down? After circling around, I finally managed to escape back to the waste pill room, pulling the tattered cloth down and wiping away a bead of cold sweat. That was a close call. That was Senior Sister Bai Jie from the Spirit Dining Hall. If she had caught me, she would have surely skinned me alive. This Senior Sister Bai Ji is at the 5th layer of Qi refining. Possessing a fiery temper, and she is a registered disciple highly regarded by the Elder of the Spirit Beast Garden. She is truly a troublesome entity to deal with. I had originally intended to deal with Wang Dabiao quietly after catching the chickens, but given the current situation, I had better wait until midnight. I must avoid being discovered by Senior Sister Bai Jie, lest my entire plan be ruined. I changed into my servant room and sat cross-legged by the fire pit, skillfully dressing the chicken and retrieving the demonic core I had gathered from the foot of the mountain in this servant courtyard. It is truly refreshing. Come here, let us keep drinking. A youth with a sturdy build was clinking glasses with the others. I, of course, was unaware. At this moment, in the servants' courtyard at the foot of the mountain, several servant disciples were drinking until their faces were flushed red, and were questioning Wang Dabiao. Senior brother, you are being so generous today. Could it be that you have been favored by one of the elders? Wang Dabiao snorted coldly and laughed. Even if there was no celebration, is there ever a day when I am not generous? Wang Dabiao shot a fierce glare at the man. After everyone toasted him one after another, Wang Dabiao nodded in satisfaction, and spoke smugly, in truth I shall not hide anything from you brothers. It is not that I have caught the attention of an elder, but rather a true disciple from the inner sect has taken a liking to me. He personally promised me that as long as I encounter Qin Fan during tomorrow's assessment and cripple him, this is the reward I will receive. The crowd did not understand. He smiled smugly and declared, "Fifth." The crowd gasped in unison. That amount is equal to 5 months of stipends for a servant disciple. Someone couldn't help but ask, Senior Brother Da Biao, is the Qin Fan you speak of the same useless fool who guards the waste pill pavilion? If not, then who else? Wang Da Biao retorted. Is there any other Qin Fan here on the servant peak? Everyone was filled with envy, scrambling to offer their services. Such a lucrative opportunity, why did it not fall to them? To dispose of a piece of trash like that? Anyone could do it, right? Senior Brother Da Biao, could you ask that true disciple if I might join in as well? I can do it too. I'll take 40 spirit stones. No, stop right there. Wang Da Biao scowled. With your meager cultivation base, do you think any of you are qualified to handle this? That senior brother specifically instructed that Qin Fan must be crippled. Can any of you strike before the deacon can react? This is not a matter of mere strength, it requires finesse. Apart from me, who among you is capable of such a task? Seeing the skepticism of the crowd, he irritably rolled up his sleeves, preparing to boast about the dragon tattoo on his arm. Look here. Look closely. Before joining the Holy Land, your brother here worked as a professional. Crash! The courtyard gate was suddenly kicked off its hinges. Wang Da Biao, furious, brandished a chicken leg and roared. Which blind fool dares to kick down the door of Da Biao? Baiji, clad in ink-black robes, strode in with a beautiful face etched with murderous intent. Upon seeing her, Wang Dabiao wore a lecherous smile. Oh, so it is a junior sister. I wonder what brings you here in the dead of night. Baiji let out a roar of rage, her gaze sweeping over the chicken leg in his hand and the pile of bones on the table. Old grievances and new hatreds erupted instantly. Gritting her teeth, she spat. So it really was you, Wang Dabiao. Very well, today if I, this young lady, do not cripple you, I shall leave this holy land for good. Fire palm, a massive fireball descended. The onlookers screamed in terror. 5th level of Qi refining, move out of the way. The servant disciples scrambled to protect their heads and fled, but Wang Dabiao was paralyzed by fear. He was struck squarely by the fire. Bai Jie lunged forward, unleashing a barrage of kicks. The sickening sound of snapping bones rang out clearly. Still dare to harass the senior sister, you chicken-stealing wretch? Senior sister, spare me. This is surely some kind of misunderstanding. Wang Dabiao wailed in agony, begging for mercy. The servants broke into a cold sweat, scrambling to find excuses to slip away. Senior Brother Dabiao, there is a pot boiling in my room. I must take my leave. Senior Brother Dabiao, it seems my house has collapsed. I must return to check on it. Senior Brother Dabiao, I need to relieve myself and then sleep. Let us drink together another time. Watching his brothers flee with such desperate haste, Wang Dabiao was so furious he nearly coughed up blood. By the time Meng Xianghui arrived, Wang Dabiao was bruised and battered, weeping in deep grievance. Bai Jie questioned the disciple acting as a witness, discovering that Wang Dabiao had indeed never set foot on the back mountain. What did you say? He has never been to the back mountain? Are you acting as his accomplice to cover for him? No, not at all. If you do not believe me, you may ask the others. Bai Jie looked at Wang Dabiao perplexed and said, if that is the case, I have truly struck the wrong person. Senior sister, I have wronged you. Wang Dabiao sobbed incessantly, his wailing becoming insufferably annoying. Bai Jie scoffed. Your speech is arrogant. Even if you did not steal the chicken, you deserve the beating. Old Meng in the servant peak, is there truly no one else by the name of Wang Dabiao? What about Wang Dafa? Bai Jie turned her head to ask. Meng Xianghui rubbed his belly and shook his head, replying there is no one else. I remember every disciple on Servant Peak clearly, especially this Wang Dabiao. Back when he first entered the sect, he presented me with a golden Buddha statue, seated on jade over a foot tall. In other words, that scoundrel has deceived me again. Bai Jie gritted her teeth in hatred and turned to walk away. If he is not from the Servant Peak, then he must belong to one of the 36 mountains of the outer sect. I refuse to believe I cannot drag this chicken thief out into the light. Meng Xianghui sighed as he looked toward Wang Dabiao. Look at yourself, acting so recklessly and sustaining such heavy injuries. Will you even be able to compete in tomorrow's assessment? Wang Dabiao winced, struggling to pull himself up. As for that piece of trash, Qin Fan, I could defeat him easily even with one hand tied behind my back. Who knows, he might even forfeit the match directly tomorrow. There is no need for any further combat. That is also true. Meng Xianghui nodded. Very well, get some rest early. This place of yours is far too filthy and hardly fit for a person to live in. I have matters to attend to, so I shall take my leave. Yet at this very moment, as the mastermind, I was stealthily creeping toward the servant quarters under the cover of darkness. Playing a prank on Wang Dabiao alone felt far too insignificant and lacked ambition. How about this? Why not go all out in one grand stroke? After a moment of contemplation, I used the shadows to crawl toward the spirit spring well at Lingshan Tang. Today, this brother of yours will teach all you fellow disciples a lesson you shall not soon forget. I poured a small amount of waste pills I had kept hidden upon my person into the well, clapped my hands together. It was done, the deed was complete. I concealed my efforts and my identity, and resolutely departed the scene. Early the next in the plaza before the service hall, 200 new servant disciples were gathered in full, a selection process that should have been a ruthless filter determining who would remain in the sacred grounds for a lifetime had now been altered due to the selfishness of a saintess creating a chaotic karma. I let out a sigh, unsure if I was lamenting my own fate. When the bell rang 3 times, Meng Xianghui and the other deacons cast their majestic gazes across the plaza. Listen closely, all disciples. Come forward one by one to draw lots. Those who draw the same number shall be each other's opponents. Furthermore, this examination requires a clear ranking. Therefore, those who are defeated must continue to compete against the other losers. We shall continue until the bottom-ranked individual is identified. The rules are simple, yet as they concern your future prospects, none are permitted to be negligent. Meng Xianghui let out a thunderous shout, his spiritual energy surging and causing everyone's hearts to pound in their chests. This is the true power of Elder Meng. How formidable, I muttered to myself. Currently I am but a single step away from the 5th level of qi condensation, and reaching this level is truly no easy feat. Just as I prepared to step forward to draw my lot, Wang Dabiao, his face bruised and his body wrapped in bandages, approached with his 2 lackeys in tow. Boy, do you know how to conduct yourself later? I trust you understand clearly, do you not? He stood before me, still maintaining his arrogant demeanor, while I looked at him in feigned surprise. Senior brother Dabiao, what has happened to you? If my memory serves me correctly, you have always been the one spreading manure in the spirit herb garden. How did you end up so severely injured all of a sudden? Could it be that the manure gained sentience and attacked you? Wang Dabiao's mouth twitched uncontrollably as he gritted his teeth and spat. That was spirit beast excrement. Is there any difference? Wang Dabiao's face turned crimson, and just as he raised his hand to teach me a lesson, he was held back by the 2 disciples following him. Senior brother Dabiao, calm down, please calm down. The plaza has strict rules prohibiting disciples from fighting privately. Do not let him provoke you. Wang Dabiao suppressed his rage, his face pale as he warned me. I hope you take that senior brother's words to heart. Otherwise, when we face each other later, I will surely make you kneel and beg for mercy. Let us go. Watching his retreating figure, I curled my lip in disdain. Kneeling and begging for mercy. We shall see who is the one kneeling to beg for mercy soon enough. The drawing of lots has concluded. My number is quite high, but fortunately the plaza is large enough. I simply need to wait for the first round to end. In the center of the Lang Dadao, 40 menial disciples began their combat. Clashes erupted with fists and kicks flying, sparks scattering everywhere. Everyone was giving their all for the top 10 reward. At first I watched with great interest, but soon something felt off. Where are the spells? Where are the spirit tools? Where are the internal energy techniques? Why are they using nothing but basic physical combat? This is the Yao Guang sacred ground, not some tavern brawl. While I was speechless, Meng Xianghui slowly approached, thinking, are you planning to leave after putting on a show? After all, one's own life is the most important thing. Well done. Xianghui praised me, patting my shoulder. You are truly intelligent. Should you encounter any trouble in the mortal realm in the future, come find me at the sacred temple. If I have the time, I will certainly assist you. If I have the time, old Meng is just painting empty promises in the sky. How stingy can one be? The first round concluded quickly. The defeated sighed and lamented, but there was little genuine despair, as everyone knew I was at the bottom of the list, and the deacon shouted. Meng Xianghui patted my shoulder. It is your turn. Go up there and concede. Let us make this quick. Afterward, I shall join you to toast and see you off. However, I am a bit short on funds lately, so you should pay for the wine first. When my fortunes improve, I will repay you. I strode toward Arena 77. My opponent was indeed Wang Dabiao. The lottery was clearly rigged, with no attempt to hide it. It's starting. It's finally starting. Wang Dabiao against Qin Fan. How long do you think this piece of trash can last? I wager he will be finished in a single strike. The surrounding handymen laughed and jeered in amusement. Little brat, are you not going to admit defeat? Wang Dabiao sneered, rubbing his hands together with a menacing grin. Calculated the time. The medicinal effect must be taking hold by now. Out of an abundance of caution, I looked toward Meng Xianghui, who was acting as the referee. I spoke with feigned hesitation. Ever since I entered the sacred grounds, I have not yet exchanged blows with anyone. It is truly a pity. How about this? I shall spar for a brief moment before conceding. This request is not too unreasonable, is it? Meng Xianghui was speechless. If you are seeking a beating, no one will stand in your way. Understood. I nodded solemnly, turned and cupped my hands toward Wang Dabiao. Dabiao, senior brother, please show mercy. Actually, forget mercy, just hurry up. Before Wang Dabiao could finish his sentence, a rumbling sound echoed from his abdomen. His complexion shifted instantly, and instinctively he pressed his legs tightly together, his eyes turning bloodshot. You damn brat, you actually refuse to concede. Believe me, I will. I paid him no heed and threw a punch straight toward him, intending to end it. Wang Dabiao was enraged, his spiritual energy surging as he prepared to retaliate, but at that precise moment he could hold back no longer, and his entire body froze in place. My punch, imbued with the full weight of my cultivated strength, landed firmly on his face. He was sent flying backward, and the liquid mess beneath him traced a perfect arc through the air. Good heavens, he even lost his equipment. Everyone's eyes widened in shock. Qinfan had punched Wang Dabiao so hard he had voided his bowels. What kind of insane joke is this? Looking at them, even my stomach began to churn. Immediately after, those who were still engaged in combat suffered equally miserable fates. The sounds of their agony echoed incessantly, and each of their faces turned a ghastly shade of pale. I surrender as well. I surrender first. It is enough that Wang Dabiao has disgraced himself alone. We have no desire to be his companions in humiliation. In the blink of an eye, 7 or 8/10 of the people on the square had fled. I also surrender. Wang Dabiao, his face flushed scarlet, clutched his trousers and scrambled down the mountain like a gale, leaving all thoughts of silver and the status of an inner sect disciple far behind him. Stunned, I turned to Meng Xianghui and asked, am I truly that formidable? Covering his nose with a reddened face, Meng Xianghui cursed. Damn it, you simply stumbled upon luck. The food at Ling Shantang must have been tainted. Damnation, the stench is unbearable. I cannot be bothered to talk with you. If you have any sense, get out of here yourself. That inner sect disciple will never let this slight go unpunished. I was taken aback, wondering, why would Zhang Dashuan not be at the bottom of the rankings this time? What does this have to do with Zhang Dashuan? I can no longer endure this stench. Think for yourself, this place is absolutely not where you belong. Old Meng suffered from a severe case of germophobia and could no longer hold back his disgust. As he used a movement technique to flee the square, I stood there in a daze. Was Zhang Dashuan not the one seeking to cause me trouble? Had I known it would end like this, why would I have gone through the trouble of poisoning the food? I could have simply given Wang Dabiao a sound beating. Since the disciples were all unwell, the examination was postponed until tomorrow morning. The deacon announced the delay in a panic, and the chaos at the miscellaneous service peak erupted, though fortunately, the deacons managed to suppress the fallout. None of these matters concerned me. Since my plans had shifted, I prepared to seize the championship tomorrow. The first place in the examination shall be mine. No one will be able to take it from me. At dusk, the Yunfeng Feixian courtyard belonged to the senior brother. An unexpected incident occurred at the miscellaneous service peak. Shangxiao entered the Giathando peak, closed his eyes, and said, what sort of incident occurred? The cause is so foul that I fear speaking of it would sully your ears, senior brother. However, rest assured that lowly miscellaneous disciple will certainly be expelled from the holy grounds tomorrow. Giathando furrowed his brows and spoke coldly, I do not wish for any further incidents to arise. Regardless of who they are, I generally only grant a person 1 or 2 opportunities. You may leave, I understand, senior brother. Zhang Xiao nodded solemnly. Early the next morning, the miscellaneous affairs square had been cleansed by water purification arts and dozens of incense burners filled with sandalwood. The square had finally regained its former composure. The miscellaneous disciples met each other with expressions of lingering embarrassment. Meng Xianghui swept his gaze across the crowd, his eyes landing on me. Inwardly, he thought, this brat actually hasn't left yet. The deacon beside him sneered with contempt. This kid seems tired of living. To think he would treat the warnings of an inner disciple like a passing breeze. Meng Xianghui withdrew his gaze, casting a silent glance toward Chen Heng. As a newly initiated disciple, his knowledge is limited. One can perhaps understand his ignorance. Chen Heng is at the 3rd layer of qi refining. He is clearly the substitute chosen by Elder Meng to secure victory. I kept a close watch on Elder Meng's movements. After seeing Chen Heng, I suddenly understood. It seems he is my opponent for this round. A talentless waste with dual water and fire spiritual roots, relying entirely on wealth to pave his way. From yesterday's matches, stepped forward to draw lots. The deacon shouted, and over 100 disciples moved forward in turn. Wang Dabiao from the group of losers watched through gritted teeth. The others were equally consumed by envy, itching with resentment. Damn it, to think that piece of trash actually made it through. If it weren't for someone drugging the competition, a runt like him could never have won. If I were Wang Dabiao, I would have fought him even if it meant soiling myself in the process. Which one of you is spreading these ridiculous rumors? I did no such thing. Wang Dabiao glared fiercely, and the crowd fell silent. Number 21. After drawing my lot, I saw Chen Heng looking at me with a mocking expression. I remained silent, then slowly raised my middle finger toward him. Chen Heng was stunned, his brow furrowing in confusion. Meng Xianghui walked over coldly. Brat, you still haven't left the sacred grounds? Are you truly tired of living? Deacon Meng, what is the meaning of this? Playing the fool. Meng Xianghui's face darkened. Qin Fan, don't say I didn't warn you. While the sacred grounds strictly forbid life and death duels between disciples, you are merely a lowly handyman. If something were to happen to you, no one would stand up to demand justice on your behalf. What a fascinating philosophy, I said, clicking my tongue. I thank you for the reminder, Deacon Meng, but I choose to believe that justice still exists within the sacred grounds. The corner of Meng Xianghui's mouth twitched. To speak of justice in the world of cultivation, he patted my shoulder, powerless to argue. My boy, the sacred grounds are truly not the place for you. The bell rang. It is time to assemble. Surely you will choose to forfeit this time? After all, you are no longer ranked at the very bottom. Sheng raised an eyebrow as he asked. I grinned. I still wish to spar and see how I fare. What if, by some stroke of luck, I were to win? Meng Xianghui was so incensed that he laughed. Boy, how much have you had to drink to be this intoxicated? You actually believe you can win again. If you can defeat me, I will give you this much. He held up 2 fingers. My expression shifted. 200 taels? It is 2 taels. You are truly generous, brother. Number 21. A deacon shouted the reminder. If number 21 does not enter the arena, he will be judged as having forfeited. The disciples collectively turned their gaze toward arena number 21. Chen Heng stood there with his arms crossed, appearing entirely at ease. So it is Chen Heng. No wonder his opponent has yet to appear. He has surely chosen to forfeit. If it were me, I would certainly choose to forfeit as well. The crowd buzzed with speculation. At that very moment, I walked calmly up to face Chen Heng. Everyone was stunned. The opponent was Chen Fan, yet he had not forfeited. Does he intend to seek humiliation? A flicker of surprise crossed Chen Heng's face. You actually dared to step onto the arena? Why would I not dare? Do you truly believe yourself to be that formidable? I spoke with a flat tone. Chen Heng's expression stiffened and he laughed out of sheer fury. You have courage. Today, if I do not cripple you, I shall take your surname. From the palm of his hand, he unleashed a fireball technique. Wang Dabiao watched from the sidelines with a cold sneer while the crowd cast looks of either sympathy or schadenfreude. Die. Chen Heng let out a cold snort and launched the fireball. It surged forward, carrying a scorching wave of heat directly toward my face. His eyes were filled with nothing but contempt, but in the very next moment, bang, a blinding, brilliant fireball erupted from my palm. The overwhelming heat caused everyone present to stare in utter shock. Damn it, am I seeing things? Is this an illusion? Whoosh. The 2 fireballs collided with a roar. Like a black hole, the larger sphere consumed the smaller one, surging forward toward Chen Heng without losing momentum. Bang! Chen Heng was swallowed by the flames, vomiting a mouthful of fresh blood as he was sent flying backward like a kite with a severed string. Hiss! The crowd collectively gasped. Since when did this Qin Fan become so ferocious? 4th level of qi condensation, this realm is enough to advance to the outer sect. Could he be a sign of a noble family, always concealing his true strength? Meng Xianghui and Wang Dabiao were equally stunned. Is this really Qin Fan? Has he been possessed by another soul? Chen Heng collapsed to the ground, vomiting blood again. His face was scorched pitch black, his beard and robes singed. He looked truly wretched. This was impossible. He could not accept that he, a disciple of the labor office, had been defeated by a lowly servant. I must have eaten poisonous mushrooms this morning, he thought to himself. In truth, I had not expected such destructive power, but given my suppressed cultivation and his lack of defenses, it was perhaps to be expected. I smiled faintly and sighed softly. My oh my. Yesterday I defeated senior brother Wang Dabiao with a single punch, and today I have felled senior brother Chen with a single move. Is there truly no one in this entire labor office capable of withstanding a single strike from me? A competition as dull as this is truly lonely, like snow falling in silence. The disciples were grinding their teeth in frustration, yet regrettably, none dared to retort. After all, those at the 4th level of qi condensation had already ascended to the outer sect. Among those remaining at the labor office, truly no one could match me. And so, under the hateful glares of the crowd, I proceeded to thoroughly humble this group of novices. I secured first place without a shred of suspense. Meng Xianghui personally awarded me 30 low-grade spirit stones, a bottle of foundation building pills, a mid-grade magical artifact, the azure jade writing brush, and 2 taels of silver from the bets. The crowd watched with bloodshot eyes burning with envy. How could this piece of trash become such a dark horse? Meng Xianghui offered a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. You hid your talents well, kid. Tell me the truth. Have you been concealing your background? In reality, you aren't the son of a common merchant, are you? Like Chen Heng, you are the descendant of a powerful noble house. I appeared slightly startled and sighed softly. Things have reached this point. Further concealment no longer holds any meaning. Indeed, my father is none other than Qin Sanhe. Meng Xianghui was stunned, asking in disbelief, is Qin Si truly so renowned? My father has been in seclusion for many years and has always kept a low profile. Matters concerning him are not to be spoken of to outsiders. I ask that Deacon Meng be understanding. An apologetic expression appeared on my face, and Meng Xianghui looked half convinced, but seeing me remain so fearless despite facing an intersect disciple, perhaps my father really was a reclusive rogue cultivator. Deacon Meng, do you happen to know the name of that intersect senior brother who is looking for trouble with me? I asked in a low voice. Meng Xianghui glanced around before answering, that is Zhang Xiao, a powerful early-stage golden core cultivator. Zhang Xiao, I silently etched the name into my mind as a plan to deal with the end of the trial began to take shape. I returned to the carvening room for the useless. The news of my victory caused a sensation throughout the Danyi Peak. Everyone speculated that I must have stumbled upon some extraordinary opportunity. As night fell, I took inventory. There were 40 furnaces worth of origin-nourishing pills remaining. With the 10 demon cores, that made a total of 50 furnaces. At most, this would only be enough for 12 days of cultivation. That is far too little, and I can no longer hunt chickens in the back mountains. In that case, I must make a trip to the Yungu market. Once I have medicinal pills, I need not fear a shortage of demon cores. Using pills to acquire demon cores and then using those cores to refine more pills, a strategy of sustainable development. But before departing, I must refine something of higher quality. To deal with an intersect disciple, I must rely entirely on these Bodhi pills. Cultivation is not merely about fighting and killing, it is about how one conducts oneself in the world. In this holy land, if one knows how to offer a drink with proper etiquette, why fear a mere intersect disciple? Shangyun Peak, located within the intersect. By the spirit pond on the mountain summit, Zhang Xiao sat cross-legged like a divinity. 3 spirit swords, flickering with purple lightning, circled around him. A streak of fiery light descended, manifesting as a crimson jade sound transmission talisman. Zhang Xiao crushed the jade talisman, and Meng Xianghui's voice echoed, recounting the events involving me. He fell silent for a moment before laughing in cold fury and rising to his feet. Qi refining ant. I do not believe I cannot crush him to death. Behind the eastern mountain of the Donglai Room lay the Yungu market, the only trading hub for cultivators within the Holy Land. It is said that those who control it have familial ties to the Holy Lord. Just thinking about having to pay rent to sell my pills, my heart ached with regret. The market was exceptionally vast. Stalls and vendors offered everything imaginable: Dharma treasures, secret manuals, medicinal spirit wine, brewed from 100-year-old spirit bones. Would this senior brother care to support his junior sister's humble business? That outer sect senior sister's straightforward proposition nearly shattered my Tao heart. I must cultivate this path, for my financial situation is dire. I rushed to the management center, paid 10 taels of silver for a stall permit, and casually claimed a spot in front of a spirit talisman shop. Then I displayed 5 bottles of Origin Nourishing Pills. I also set up a sign with the words, 1 bottle of Origin Nourishing Pills for 20 rank 1 monster cores. I was well aware that a single Origin Nourishing Pill typically sells for 100 taels of silver. A rank 1 monster core is valued at 50 taels. Usually, a bottle containing 9 pills would trade for over a dozen monster cores. My price was slightly inflated, but the quality spoke for itself. After a moment of thought, I added a note. These Origin Nourishing Pills were crafted by a grandmaster. 1 pill is worth 2 of the others. Is that even true? A dark-complexioned disciple asked, filled with doubt. Naturally, it is true. I offered a faint smile. I see that you, senior brother, possess a jade-like complexion and an aura of nobility. You are clearly a man with a discerning eye for quality. If you do not believe me, open the bottle and see for yourself. The dark-complexioned disciple scratched his head, looking embarrassed. No need to open it. Just by looking at you, I can tell you are an honest man. Give me 1 bottle. I offered a thumbs up and presented the elixir. Senior brother, you truly possess the bearing of an immortal. May you eventually ascend to the heavens. Junior brother wishes you well. Then I shall borrow your auspicious words, junior brother. With both parties mentally satisfied, the transaction concluded in high spirits. Junior brother, may I open this bottle of pills to take a look? A mature-looking disciple stepped forward. Of course you may. As soon as the bottle was unsealed, a fragrant wave of spirit energy billowed out, drawing gasps of astonishment from those nearby. It really is a supreme-grade Origin Nourishing Pill. Junior brother, I will take all of these Origin Nourishing Pills. The mature disciple produced 80 rank 1 monster cores in one breath. I was slightly surprised. A practitioner at the 11th level of Qi refining. What kind of minor demons was he hunting to have so many? In the blink of an eye, the elixirs were sold out. The disciples who failed to purchase any could not remain calm and began to press me with questions. Junior brother, high-quality essence-gathering pills like these are already exhausted, but I still have some premium-grade grade 1 Bodhi pills in my possession. Would you be interested, senior brother? Bodhi pills? Everyone present was astonished. These were genuine treasures that accelerated cultivation speed and induced a state of enlightenment, items that could not be purchased even with vast wealth. The seasoned disciple stammered, Junior brother, naturally I desire this Bodhi pill, but my financial resources are somewhat limited. That is of no consequence. I smiled faintly and spoke in a clear, ringing voice, respected senior brothers. Is there anyone among you who can recommend a true inheritor disciple at the late stage of the Golden Core realm within the inner sect? To whoever does so, I shall immediately gift a bottle of grade 1 Bodhi pills. 5 bottles. The attention of the entire street was captured, yet the conditions were so stringent that no one dared to speak. Just as I was beginning to frown, a girl dressed in a yellow gown pushed her way through the crowd. Junior brother, is what you said true? It is true, more genuine than gold itself. Senior sister, do you happen to know any senior brothers at the late stage of the Golden Core realm? I am not acquainted with any senior brothers, but I do know a senior sister Yunyan of the Luzhu Peak. A senior sister is even better, I replied, opening a bottle of Bodhi pills. The fragrance of the medicinal herbs permeated the surroundings. Senior sister, provided you can facilitate an introduction for me, these 5 bottles of Bodhi pills will be yours. The breathing of the girl in the yellow gown grew rapid. Junior brother, can you wait for me for 1 month? Senior sister Yun will return from her travels in a month's time, and I shall certainly introduce her to you then. 1 month. Though the duration is long, I can remain hidden within the waste pill room, where that Zhang Xiao fellow cannot touch me. I nodded in agreement. Very well, then it is settled. We shall meet here again at this hour in 1 month. Past noon, I hurried back toward the pill room, realizing that I had been followed. I had traded for 400 demon cores throughout the morning, enough to sustain my cultivation for several months. Now that I had ample resources, I naturally had to accelerate my progress by combining essence-gathering pills with Bodhi pills, alongside medicinal elixirs for nourishing the spirit, strengthening the body, and cleansing the marrow. I focused on fully absorbing the immense internal essence manifested within this sacred ground. The discarded pills of the entire sacred ground were now nurturing me alone. Under such frantic and excessive nourishment, my cultivation realm ascended at an incredible, almost unbelievable speed. 1 month later, at the break of dawn, in a secluded corner outside the waste pill room, Chen Bokai of the Qi condensation layer arrived with 2 followers. The 2 at the 8th layer of Qi condensation, Yang Wei and Zhang Buju, were stealthily peering at the palace gate. "Senior brother, are you certain that this brat will emerge today?" "I am certain, I heard it with my own ears." He made an appointment to meet senior sister Yun from the inner sect exactly 1 month from today. Chen Bokai handed over a demon mask and commanded, "Put this on. Once he descends the mountain, find a spot to intercept him and force him to surrender all the medicinal pills in his possession." Yang Wei confidently donned the mask. "Rest assured, senior brother, he is merely trash at the 4th layer of Qi condensation. The 2 of us will surely handle this cleanly and efficiently." The gate of the palace creaked open, and beneath the warm sunlight, Qin Fan stepped out, wearing a faint smile. Chen Bokai was stunned, wondering why Qin Fan suddenly appeared so handsome. "The wind is quite mild today, isn't it? After a month of seclusion, relying on my pill refining technique, I have forced my breakthrough to the 12th layer of Qi condensation, the great perfection. However, to reach the foundation establishment stage, I absolutely require a foundation establishment and a second-grade demon core. A demon core for the early foundation establishment stage costs about 200 spirit stones, which equates to 10 Bodhi pills. This time, I do not intend to set up a stall. I will head directly to the shop to trade for safety." Just as he reached the mountainside, 2 figures wearing demon masks suddenly emerged from the path ahead. The 2 cultivators at the 8th layer of Qi condensation stood with arms crossed, letting out a cold snort. "2 outer sect disciples, what is the meaning of this disguise? Are you putting on a play?" I asked with feigned curiosity. "2 senior brothers, is this your way of staging a robbery?" The chubbier one, Yang Wei, coldly threatened, "Hand over all the medicinal pills on your person. Otherwise, do not blame us for relying on our seniority to bully the weak." I chuckled. "Are you 2 senior brothers truly certain you wish to rob a mere servant disciple like me? Enough nonsense. If we aren't here to rob you, could it be that we came to perform a play for your entertainment?" How amusing. I tapped the storage bag at my waist and said, "It is right here. If the 2 senior brothers possess the capability, come and take it yourselves." Yang Wei and Zhang Buju were taken aback. "Senior brother, this brat does not seem to hold us in any regard at all," Zhang Buju remarked with a peculiar expression. "Very well, you insolent whelp. It seems you are truly tired of living." Whoosh, he drew a pitch-black staff. "If I do not teach you a proper lesson today, I would not be worthy of my title. You seem to have no idea who you are dealing with." Yang Wei's spiritual energy surged as he lunged toward me in a flash. He brandished his staff with an imposing display of force, yet a shimmering barrier of energy suddenly manifested before me. The staff felt as if it had plunged into deep mire, unable to advance even a single inch. Yang Wei stood stunned. "Senior brother, it seems your strength is far beneath my own." I offered a mocking smile and flicked my wide sleeve, releasing a surge of spiritual energy that rippled forth like water. Bang! Yang Wei was sent reeling backward by the immense pressure, leaving Zhang Buju with a look of utter disbelief. "Senior brother Chen, did you not say this wretch was only at the 1st level of Qi refining? How has he suddenly reached the great perfection of the 12th level of Qi refining?" Snap! Startled, Chen Bokai stepped on a dry branch within the woods. His mind was even more bewildered than those of the 2 cultivators. "Is this what they call the 1st level of Qi refining? There is another one lurking." My expression shifted ever so slightly. As I gazed toward the woods, Chen Bokai broke into a cold sweat, instinctively backing away. "Since you have arrived, why the rush to leave?" Su Tianran remarked. Chen Bokai's complexion shifted violently, and he had no choice but to step out, defeated. "Junior brother, if I told you I was merely passing by, would you believe me? Why don't you take a guess? With your heaven-defying talent, junior brother, I suspect you would surely believe me." I narrowed my eyes slightly. "Senior brother, I am pleased that you chose to reveal yourself willingly, but your words are a clear insult to my intelligence." Junior brother is beginning to feel quite displeased. Thud! Chen Bokai collapsed to his knees on the spot. His expression a mask of desperate misery. "Junior brother, I was momentarily blinded by greed. I am on my knees begging for your mercy. Please, a man of your stature should not lower himself to deal with a wretch like me. I beseech you to spare me this once." I shook my head. "That will not do. If you come and go as you please, does that not imply you treat my territory as if it were a public latrine? Then what is it that you want, junior brother? It is simple. Let us switch roles. I am the plunderer, and you are the one being plundered. Do with that information what you will." Chen Bokai gritted his teeth and tossed his storage bag over, saying, "This contains all of my possessions, junior brother. Please take it." "You are a truly straightforward man, senior brother." I turned to look at the other 2. Zhang Buju and Yang Wei were startled out of their wits and decisively offered up their storage bags. "These are mine. Please, junior brother, kindly accept them." I smiled. "The 3 of you, this isn't me forcing your hand, is it?" The 3 of them shook their heads violently. "Not at all, not at all, absolutely not." "I trust you won't be gossiping behind my back then, will you?" "Certainly not, certainly not." I nodded. "Given your sincerity, we shall consider this matter settled. However, regarding anything concerning me, I hope the three of you know when to remain silent. Otherwise, I would have to crush your masks with a wave of my hand, I said, lowering my voice to a reminder, and as your junior brother, I might then have to demand an explanation from the three of you. The three broke into a cold sweat, stammering their compliance before fleeing from the chore servant peak, as if a great weight had been lifted from their shoulders. I let out a soft scoff and tallied my spoils, several hundred low-grade spirit stones, dozens essence cultivating pills, 3 magical artifacts, and over a dozen spirit talismans. For an ordinary outer sect disciple, this is no small sum, but for 3 men accustomed to robbing others, this is certainly not their entire fortune. It is a pity that we are currently within the Holy Land. If we were outside the Holy Land, I would have certainly taught these three a lesson in the art of killing and looting today. I shook my head in regret and strode down the mountain. Although I am now capable of riding the wind, I must continue to hide my strength in the pill refinement room. I cannot afford to be flashy. The path of immortality is sought for longevity, not for showmanship. Behind Donglai Peak lies the Yonggu Market. I headed straight into a pawn shop and inquired about exchanging medicinal pills for demon cores. The good news is that there are many Foundation Establishment stage demon cores. The bad news is that the exchange rate of 3 Bodhi pills for 1 demon core is daylight robbery. The money you people earn, is it any different from highway robbery? I cursed these profiteers under my breath, but since I am in urgent need of demon cores, I had no choice but to obediently fork over 30 Bodhi pills in exchange for 10 demon cores. For the sake of safety, I spent another 20 spirit stones to purchase a copy of the concealed aura technique being sold on the street. Once cultivated, only a Grand Master at the spirit transformation stage would be able to see through my true cultivation realm. It is truly an essential item for a master who prefers to lay low. I walked out of the pawn shop. I studied as I walked and quickly mastered the concealed aura technique. Perhaps it is because I have been consuming so many Bodhi pills lately, but my comprehension has significantly increased. After suppressing my spiritual energy, I returned to the stall. The senior sister in the yellow dress had already been waiting for a long time. I apologize for keeping you waiting, senior sister. I stepped forward and said, "It has not been long. You have only just arrived. By the way, you do not even know this junior brother's name yet." She offered a radiant smile. "My name is Yun Rong and you are Chen Fan. I share the same family lineage as senior sister Yun Yan, though she belongs to the main branch, while I am of the collateral branch, but by rank I must still address her as cousin. No wonder an outer disciple is acquainted with a core formation late-stage inner disciple. Junior brother Chin, senior sister Yun Yan is waiting for us at Luzhu Peak. She is quite busy, so we should head over there immediately." "Very well, senior sister, please lead the way." Upon leaving the market, Yunrong produced a green leaf that transformed into a small wind chime boat. She revealed her cultivation base at the 12th layer of Qi refining. This was precisely why she was in such urgent need of the Bodhi pill. "Junior brother Chin, please step aboard." I stepped onto the spirit boat. The space was cramped with only a fist's distance between us, causing Yunrong's lovely face to flush with a faint red hue. "Junior brother, could you perhaps move back a little?" I turned my head to look. "Senior sister, I seem unable to move." "Very well, is that so? You should move forward slightly." Yunrong appeared conflicted. I have no other choice then, as I was merely at the 4th layer of Qi refining. She surely assumed I would not dare to have any improper thoughts, so she braced herself to stand firm. Yunrong cast a spell and the wind chime boat transformed into a streak of green light, soaring toward Luzhu Peak. Above the cloud layer, rolling mountains stretched out as far as the eye could see. Celestial waterfalls cascaded down while spirit birds chirped in the distance, fully displaying the magnificent aura of a sacred cultivation ground. My heart swelled with joy. Only through pursuing the eternal path of cultivation could one achieve such immense freedom. How tranquil it truly is. At Luzhu Peak, amid the bamboo groves, the spiritual energy here was so dense it had coalesced into mist. As soon as we landed, a gentle voice echoed from the courtyard. "The restriction has been lifted. You two may push the door open and enter." Yunrong smiled radiantly and turned to remind me. "Sister is very kind to you, but do not speak recklessly, or you will surely bring bitterness upon yourself once we are inside." "Junior brother understands. Many thanks for the reminder, senior sister Yunrong." I nodded in response. Yunrong pushed open the courtyard door and led me into Fan Hai Xiaozu. The courtyard was filled with exotic flowers, fragrant grasses, and a refreshing scent. Beside a pond of red carp, a woman in a white dress sat cross-legged beneath a wisteria trellis, absorbing the spiritual mist. She was the true disciple of the late Golden Core stage senior sister Yunyan. Her appearance was exceptionally beautiful. I could not help but silently admire how cultivation truly serves as a fountain of youth. Although they were cousins, there was likely a difference of several decades between their ages. "Sister, he is the miscellaneous disciple who wished to meet you. His name is Qin Fan." Yunrong stepped forward and affectionately linked her arm with Yunyan's. Yunyan opened her beautiful eyes, a blue light flashing within them. My body stiffened as her divine scent swept over me, leaving me feeling as exposed as if I had no place to hide. "Junior brother Qin, I do not know for what purpose you have sought me out." Her voice was gentle and melodious. I bowed respectfully. "Greetings, senior sister Yunyan." "Senior sister, I have come here because I wish to propose a transaction with you." "A transaction? What kind of transaction?" Yunyan's expression was one of bewilderment. A mere miscellaneous disciple daring to propose a deal with a golden core cultivator. "I possess a 4th grade soul formation pill. Provided that you can assist me with a task, senior sister, I shall offer this elixir with both hands." Yunyan's gaze sharpened and Yunrong was also startled. A 4th grade soul formation pill is a treasure that money cannot purchase. Even for a true disciple attempting to break through to the nascent soul stage, the sacred ground provides at most 1 or 2. The primary ingredient, the nascent soul fruit, is exceptionally rare, surpassing even some 5th or 6th grade elixirs in value. Junior brother Chin, such 4th grade soul formation pills are scarce even within the sacred ground. Where did you obtain it? Yun Yan stared intently at me. I smiled and replied, this pill was passed down by my ancestors. Yun Yan pondered internally. Could it be that he has a hidden background? Then I wonder what exactly you wish to trade for, junior brother? To be perfectly honest with you, senior sister, I have inadvertently offended a core disciple. That senior brother's name is Zhang Xiao. Unfortunately, I have no idea when or how I managed to offend him. Therefore, I wish to request your assistance, senior sister, to arrange a meeting between him and myself so we may resolve this misunderstanding clearly. Yun Yan fell into a moment of contemplation. Among the core disciples, the only one named Zhang Xiao is the junior brother Zhang of the Shangyun Peak. If it is indeed the Zhang Xiao who possesses a core formation pill, let alone mediating, even if I were to give him a sound beating, it would be acceptable. Junior brother Chin, may I examine that core formation pill first? Of course, that is not a problem. However, I will still need senior sister Yun Yan to provide a nascent soul stage demonic core. I rubbed my nose, feeling slightly awkward as I asked, a nascent soul stage demonic core? Yun Yan furrowed her brows. Why does junior brother Chin require such an item? I need it to save someone, but as for the specifics, please forgive me, for I cannot disclose them. Unable to speak of the treasure refining cauldron, I was forced to weave a lie. As a cultivator at the late stage of Golden Core, gathering enough contribution points to exchange for a nascent soul demonic core is not difficult. Besides, she is a kind-hearted person. After a moment of thought, and fearing not that I would abscond with her demonic core, she nodded and replied, I agree to your request, junior brother. She brought out a dark green demonic core, where spiritual light converged and water attribute spiritual energy surged violently. Demonic cores have myriad uses, but for the sake of the core formation pill, she was not the least bit stingy. I suppressed my excitement as I received it with both hands, and said, Senior Sister Yun Yan, please wait a moment. I left the core formation pill at the waste pill chamber. I shall return to retrieve it immediately. Very well, I shall wait for you here. Yunrong accompanied junior brother Qin to retrieve the elixir. Upon arriving at the waste pill chamber, I left Yunrong waiting outside. I retrieved the treasure refining cauldron along with the failed core formation pills. Failed pills above the 4th grade are rare, but each one is truly priceless. I have struck it rich. This time I have truly struck it rich. 9 core formation pills. Even after giving away 8 remain. This is truly an overwhelming fortune. I excitedly threw the demon cores and low-grade pills into the alchemy furnace. With these items, the speed of my cultivation will surely advance by leaps and bounds. Upon leaving the waste pill room, I generously settled the remaining balance. Senior Sister Yun Rong, here are the 5 bottles of Bodhi pills for you. Thank you very much for your help this time. It is merely a trivial matter. Junior brother Chin, if you require any further assistance in the future, do not hesitate to come to Jiuxiao Peak to find me. Yun Rong beamed with joy. In her eyes, I was undoubtedly a person of significant background and a source of great fortune. Shangyin Peak, Junwen Courtyard. Zhang Xiao sat in the pavilion drinking gloomily. He crushed the wine cup in his grip with raw force. It has been a month. That Aunt Chin Fan has been hiding in the waste pill room for an entire month. What exactly is he plotting? For this past month, he has not dared to step foot outside Jiangqing's courtyard, living like a coward both before and after his formation of the core. In that case, was this pill not essentially wasted? With the cry of a crane, a white crane descended into the courtyard, its beak clutching a message delivered by a spirit crane. Zhang Zhao was startled, thinking to himself, could it be from senior brother Jiang? He opened the letter to read it. Inside there was only one sentence, I invite junior brother Zhang Xiao to visit Luzhu Peak. Yun Yan blinked. Why would the eldest senior sister, currently at the late stage of the Golden Core realm, seek him out? Could she be looking to form a team for a mission? Inside the Haixiaozhu Pavilion, junior brother, do try the Zhushin wine that I have brewed. This wine is fermented from the nectar of 1,000-year flame bamboo. 1 cup is equivalent to several months of your cultivation. Yun Yan swept her sleeves to pour the wine, the fragrance filling the air. Many thanks, senior sister, I said, draining the cup in one go. The wine was indeed exquisite and rich in spiritual energy. However, it was a cruel irony that I possessed a first-grade 5-element spirit root. This single gulp was only equivalent to a first-grade foundation pill. It held no significant effect for me. Only a second-grade foundation pill would have any tangible impact. Yun Rong was stunned to see me show no reaction after drinking the wine. Junior brother Qin, do you not feel the spiritual energy rising within your body? I replied sheepishly, I will not hide it from you, senior sister. In truth, I possess a first-grade 5-element spirit root. Therefore, if I only drink a single cup of this wine. The two were stunned, a first-grade 5-element spirit root? No matter how prestigious one's background is, it is difficult to achieve anything with such a foundation. Yun Yan suddenly felt as if she were winking at a blind man. Her attitude shifted entirely. If junior brother Qin finds that consuming this has no effect, Yunrong, you drink this wine, she said, pushing the cup toward Yunrong before standing up to meditate beneath the wisteria trellis. Yunrong replied with delight, many thanks, sister. Then I shall stand on ceremony, reflecting the pragmatic nature of women. Just as I was feeling irritable, a clear resonant voice echoed outside the courtyard. Junior brother Zhang Xiao, having received your invitation, senior sister, has come specially to pay a visit to senior sister Yun Yan. Have you arrived? I composed my spirit and looked toward the courtyard gate. Junior brother, please enter. I have already lifted the restrictive barrier, Yun Yan replied softly. Zhang Xiao pushed the door open and stepped inside. Clad in cyan robes, a golden core cultivator of such age is rarely truly young. Despite his youthful appearance, he could well be an elder of 100 years. The moment his gaze fell upon me, a mere menial servant, he could not help but freeze in shock. This junior sister pays her respects to senior brother Zhang Xiao. Yunrong bowed respectfully, and I also slowly stood up to offer a salute. Junior brother Qin Fan pays his respects to senior brother Zhang Xiao. Qin Fan? Zhang Xiao's expression shifted violently. Why was this brat in Yunyan's residence? Did Meng Zhonghui not say that he was devoid of any background? Junior brother Zhang. Yunyan spoke indifferently. I have heard that you and junior brother Qin have some history of enmity, yet I do not know in what way junior brother Qin has offended you. Zhang Xiao's pupils constricted. That Yunyan would actually step forward to defend Qin Fan caused cold sweat to break out across his brow. Yunyan is a formidable figure, trailing only Zhang Qingdu by a single minor cultivation realm. If Yunyan truly decided to discipline Zhang Xiao on my behalf, Zhang Qingdu would certainly find it difficult to intervene. In all likelihood, Zhang Xiao would have no choice but to swallow his resentment. Senior brother Zhang, I am unaware of how I have offended you, so I ask that you provide some clarity. I cupped my hands and asked, truly failing to understand how I had managed to offend an inner sect disciple. Zhang Xiao's expression flickered with uncertainty. Had it been an ordinary inner sect disciple stepping forward to assist me, he would have turned hostile long ago, but in the presence of Yun Yan, he was forced to concede. After a brief silence, he asked, Junior brother Qin, are you acquainted with junior sister Nian Muxue? The expressions of Yun Yan and Yun Rong flickered slightly at the mention of Nan Muxue. She is the future Saintess, personally appointed by the Saint Lord himself. How could a lowly servant possibly be close to her? I was also stunned. Was it truly because of Nan Muxue? Did she not wish for anyone to know of our relationship? I furrowed my brows and asked, Senior brother Zhang, what exactly do you mean by these words? What if I do know her? And what if I don't? If you do know her, I advise you to distance yourself as soon as possible. Otherwise, I suddenly understood everything. I could not help but hold my forehead and let out a bitter laugh. Helplessly, I walked up to Zhang Xiao. I gripped his ear tightly and spoke with earnest sincerity. Brother-in-law, you have misunderstood. Mushu and I share only a sibling bond. She is merely my younger sister, a sworn sister. The truth is far different from what you imagine. Brother-in-law? Zhang Xiao's eyes widened in shock as he jerked away, waving his hands in a panic. I didn't. That's not me. Do not go spreading rumors about me, I am warning you. Yun Yan and Yun Rong were also left completely bewildered. The Saintess is the sworn sister of Qin Fan? If such a connection existed, why would Qin Fan still be hiding away in the waste pill chamber? Could it be because his innate talent is considered too inferior? Suddenly, the gazes the two sisters cast upon me were filled with a hint of pity. Surely not. I was slightly startled. Then what did senior brother Zhang's previous words imply? Rubbing his aching temples, Zhang Xiao sighed. If this matter is truly as you say, then perhaps it was merely a misunderstanding. To think all this chaos was caused by a simple misunderstanding. I fell into deep thought. For Zhang Xiao to fear the title of brother-in-law so greatly, there must be a formidable figure who has already marked me as a rival in love. I sighed inwardly. Not only had I failed to secure a comfortable life, but I had also invited trouble upon myself. Is it true that a beautiful woman is a source of misfortune? I had paid a heavy price just to resolve a misunderstanding. It was already dusk when I returned to the waste pill chamber. Yun Rong escorted me back, her attitude remaining gentle, and before leaving, she gifted me a sound transmission jade talisman. In a few days, I must prepare for my foundation establishment. Once I complete the breakthrough, I will enter the inner sect. By then, if you have any trouble, you can use the transmission talisman to contact me. As long as you are in the outer sect, consider this senior sister your protector. She patted her chest and smiled until her eyes turned into crescents, a wave of warmth rising within my heart. In this cruel world of cultivation, encountering someone so kind after receiving the Jade Mansion is truly rare. Phew! Watching Yunrong transform into a streak of light and depart, I turned back to my room to prepare for refining the foundation establishment pill before entering seclusion. Just as I was about to take out my alchemy furnace, Meng Shanghui walked in, clutching his bloated belly and covering his nose. When do you intend to participate in the outer disciple examination? I was stunned. Is it not possible to simply skip it? I feel that with my current strength, I likely won't pass that examination. Old Meng was speechless. The outer disciple examination only requires reaching the 4th layer of qi refining. You just go and you pass. How could you possibly fail? You really are a strange person. Instead of entering the outer sect to cultivate in peace and see the vastness of the world, you insist on being a miscellaneous chore disciple, clinging to this poor, dilapidated pill refining room. What exactly are you thinking? The truth is, I intended to wait until I reached the late stage of qi refining before going to the outer sect, so as to avoid being bullied by others there. Old Meng shook his head in silence and tossed me a bronze purple command medallion engraved with the character for outer sect candidate. What is the meaning of this? I have just been informed of a new rule. All miscellaneous chore disciples within the Holy Land who have reached the 4th layer of qi refining are now treated like outer disciples. They must go out every 3 months to complete a mission. Those who complete it receive neither reward nor punishment, but they can earn contribution points. However, if you fail to complete it, you must serve in the mines for 1 year. This terrible rule is clearly targeted at me. Nanmu Shui, you are truly ruthless. Is this your way of forcing me to leave the Holy Land so you can ambush me in the shadows? Brother, heed my advice. If you have the chance to enter the outer sect, just do your best to go. Once you reach the outer sect, you will be able to receive more spirit stones and medicinal elixirs. Your strength will undoubtedly grow much faster than it is now, and by then, performing missions outside will be much easier. Old Meng patted my shoulder, speaking with deep sincerity. I remained silent for a moment before shaking my head and saying, I think I will wait a little longer and see. As you wish, but I will give you one more piece of advice. If you find that you cannot complete a mission alone, you can go to the mission pavilion. If you cannot find anyone, I can help you make the necessary connections. As for the silver, I will not take it. I felt a slight stir of emotion. This treacherous old man Meng still possessed a shred of humanity, after all. But the moment he snatched the spirit stones away, before I could even utter a word of thanks, I nearly choked on my own saliva. Damn it, that blood-sucking old man Meng truly lives up to his reputation. Very well, I shall take my leave. Handle the rest yourself, for this wretched place is certainly not fit for a human to reside in. Old man Meng walked away while covering his nose, his expression one of utter disdain. Time flows and things change, yet you, old man Meng, remain exactly the same. At the Wuhua peak of the inner sect, the pavilions hovered over the rear mountain. The doors creaked open and Nanmo Tuyet emerged, clad in robes of holy white. Radiating a frigid aura, she stepped forth with the cold ethereal air of a celestial being. Sister, you have successfully reached the foundation establishment stage. Her younger sister Nanmo Ling ran toward her and embraced her. It is a success. Nanmo Tuyet retracted her icy aura and offered a faint smile. You achieved foundation establishment in only 3 days. Sister, you are truly formidable. Molin's eyes were filled with deep admiration. Given your talent, it should not take you much longer to reach the same heights. Nanmo Tuyet walked into the pavilion to pour tea, asking, You have come to find me. Is it because Qin Fan has left the Holy Land? Not yet. Molin shook her head helplessly. After handing him the outer disciple candidate token, he first stayed in the waste pill chamber for a few days, and then rushed to the Yungu market to rent a cultivation room. He has remained sequestered inside for 10 full days. As a talentless fool with a 9th grade spirit root, one wonders what he could possibly be cultivating all day long. The cultivation rooms at the market are by no means inexpensive. Where could he have possibly obtained the spirit stones to rent one for so long? Need I even say it? He has certainly been using your name in secret. Goodness knows what sort of schemes he used to swindle those resources. If he did not resort to such tactics, how else could he have managed to break through to the 4th layer of qi refining? With his innate talent, he could bury his head in cultivation for 100 years and still not hope to make the slightest progress. Nanmo Tuyet's expression darkened. She had not expected Qin Fan's character to be so despicable. Older sister, why not let me go and teach him a lesson? Dragging this out any longer is simply a waste of time. I truly have no patience left to wait. Nanmo Tuyet shook her head and said that cannot be done. The master and the various elders are all aware of the situation between me and Qin Fan. If I were to disregard our past ties and act too harshly against Qin Fan, the impression I have established in their eyes would surely suffer a severe decline. In the future, my quest to secure control over the Holy Land would undoubtedly be hindered. After all, I am no ordinary core disciple. As the Holy Maiden, I must carry the weight of the entire Holy Land in my heart. Just continue to wait. Let us see if Qin Fan fails his Holy Land mission before deciding on our next move. But what if he actually succeeds? Nanmo Tuyet cast a sidelong glance at her sister, saying, With you following him closely, do you truly believe that is possible? I suppose that is true. Here at Langtu Pavilion in Bangkok Market, I practice within the spirit gathering formation, surrounded by a dense concentration of spiritual energy. With my first grade 5 element spiritual root, my cultivation progresses at an agonizingly slow pace. I must perfectly balance the 5 elemental energies. And coupled with my low refinement efficiency, the effort I must exert is many times greater than that of a heaven grade spiritual root. Yet, over these past 10 days, I have consumed more than 40 foundation establishment pills. Though success remains elusive, I will absolutely not give up. I desire to ascend and become an immortal. Let us continue. The spiritual energy within my dantian is being continuously compressed, yet there is still no sign of it liquefying. I refuse to believe it. If 40 foundation establishment pills are insufficient, then I shall consume another 40. They are merely medicinal pills, are they not? If there is one thing I am not lacking, it is an abundance of elixirs. Continue the closed-door cultivation. I know not how much time has passed in the outside world, but just as my mental fortitude was reaching its limit, a faint snapping sound echoed from my dantian, a sound like nature itself. The spiritual energy had finally liquefied. Keep going, the beginning is always the hardest. With the first drop achieved, as long as I have enough foundation establishment pills, this barrier will no longer stand in my way. A month passed, and the 5-colored cocoon of spiritual energy surrounding me shattered with a roar, transforming into a brilliant, blinding light. Huff, I let out a long, heavy breath and quickly withdrew my aura. After more than a month of secluded training, I have finally broken through to the early stage of foundation establishment. I am now eligible to participate in the trials to become an inner disciple. However, I have no intention of doing so. As for this waste pill room, I shall remain here until the day I die. To refine this, I had to use Earth Core Fire for 60 consecutive foundation establishment pills. This garbage talent of mine is truly incomparable. Looking at the pile of empty bottles beside me, I am quite speechless. A first grade 5-element spiritual root is truly a bane to its owner. If not for the resources of the Holy Land and this alchemical furnace, what other cultivation sect could bear such an enormous consumption? Before entering, I paid for a month and a half of rent, totaling over 4,000 low-grade spirit stones. It is already this late, and since no one has called for me, it is clear my time is not yet up. But since I have successfully reached Foundation establishment, there is no need to remain. I should go out and settle the account. Even though I am not lacking in spirit stones, I cannot afford to be wasteful. After packing my belongings, I walked to the counter on the first floor, where the middle-aged manager looked at me with astonishment. "Have you achieved a breakthrough?" I was taken aback. How did he know? I had clearly used the concealment art to hide my cultivation realm. The manager smiled faintly. "Little brother, have you not looked in a mirror? Your appearance now is far more refined than it was before." I suddenly understood. It turns out I have become even more handsome. The Foundation establishment process cleanses the marrow and refines the meridians, so it is not strange that my appearance has changed. Judging by your demeanor, little brother, a mere breakthrough to the 5th level of chi condensation would not cause such a change. You must have been concealing your true cultivation level before you entered. The manager chuckled and I smiled back gently. "Not at all, I merely consumed some beauty-enhancing elixirs." Over a month has passed. Returning to my beloved waste pill chamber, I can hardly contain my excitement. Foundation establishment is a success, granting me a lifespan of 200 years. From this day forward, I have finally set foot on the path to immortality. Although I have undergone a transformation of body and bone after Foundation establishment, I have not entered the inner sect, so I have not received any mystical arts or high-grade magical artifacts. My strength at this stage will certainly be at a disadvantage. Fortunately, I have the financial power to visit the marketplace for supplies, plus my spiritual energy is profound, so I am certainly not weak among my peers. However, I cannot return to the Yungu marketplace. My previous display of wealth in buying artifacts made me a target to be fleeced. Calculating the time, it is about time to undertake some missions. I shall seize this opportunity to make a trip to the Sai Kingdom. The cultivation marketplace in the Sea Kingdom is far larger than the Yungu marketplace, and no one there will. It is relatively much safer than the Holy Land. Before setting out, I used the demon cores I had previously traded for to refine 50 cauldrons of rank 2 origin nourishing pills to keep on hand for daily use. 3 days later, after bidding farewell to Elder Meng, I arrived at the mission pavilion on the Earth origin peak of the outer sect. Inside the hall, light flickered as missions on the walls and stone pillars were updated incessantly. I hid outside the crowd using my Foundation establishment level spiritual sense to scan and filter the board. If I am to go to the Sai Nation, then I must find missions located within regions governed by the Holy Land that are near the Sai Nation's capital, and they must be non-repeatable missions to avoid encountering fellow disciples of the Holy Land. Very quickly, I locked onto my target. The Holy Land has posted a mission in Taoyuan County, Sai Nation capital, involving the appearance of a tier-4 exotic beast, the blood-tailed wolf. Eliminating it and retrieving its complete demon core will grant 40 contribution points. The time limit is 1 month and it is a non-repeatable mission. Choosing it yields very low benefits. But venturing out to acquire new equipment is the primary objective. I presented my outer sect candidate token to the deacon. "Senior brother, I wish to accept a mission." The deacon looked surprised at the mission to the Sai Nation capital to slay the blood-tailed wolf. "An outer sect candidate? Junior brother, you have not yet entered the outer sect?" "Not yet. I intend to wait a while longer." He revealed a strange expression. After inspecting the token, he asked, "How should I address you, junior brother?" "Chin Fan." "Very well, I have recorded it. If you do not hand over the demon core within 1 month, the mission will be considered a failure and will be reposted." "Understood." Early the next morning, I departed the Holy Land. To conceal my cultivation, I chose to travel on foot to Minyang City at the foot of the mountain and spent the night there. The next morning, I donned my water and fire-resistant purple robes and black cloud-treading boots, directly manifesting the flight evasion technique to soar into the skies. Disregarding the mundane world, high above the 9 layers of clouds, my robes fluttered in the wind, relying on my own strength to cross mountains and traverse rivers. A surge of heroic spirit and a sense of dominion over the shifting tides of the world welled up within my chest. Once I reached the Sai Nation market, I must purchase a supreme-grade spirit sword, and at that time riding the sword in flight will satisfy my long-held dream of being a sword immortal. However, this sense of ease did not last long. As night fell, I passed through the main road of Taiping County. Below, I suddenly saw chaotic torchlight and swirling dust as a great number of citizens fled in terror toward the city gates. Upon closer inspection, a pack of 7 fierce hyenas, each the size of a leopard with eyes glowing a sinister hue, was seen tearing into the innocent populace. Atop the city walls, the commander's expression shifted violently as he bellowed, "This is dire. It is an invasion of demonic beasts." He commanded all archers to fire immediately. With a series of sharp whistles, a rain of thousands of arrows descended upon the hyenas. Yet, as each arrow struck the beasts, sparks showered in every direction. Clang, clang, clang. The fur of these demonic beasts was as hard as iron and stone, leaving them completely unscathed. Their resilience was truly formidable. The commander's face drained of color as he shouted, "Hurry, go at once and summon the immortal master from Baiyun Temple to slay these demons." Realizing that mundane weaponry was useless, he decisively ordered his subordinates to seek reinforcements from the great general. The adjutant dared not delay, turning and racing down the ramparts to find the immortal master. The pack of hyenas, briefly halted by the barrage, grew even more savage, charging toward the people on the main road. "Run! Don't let them eat us! Quickly open the city gates! Open the gates!" The area beneath the city had transformed into a living hell, with the sounds of weeping and tragic screams echoing incessantly. Blood, flesh, and severed limbs lay scattered across the earth. The city commander felt as though his heart were being sliced by knives, yet he dared not open the city gates. As the massive pack of hyenas advanced once more, and the commoners faced imminent death, a sheet of fire suddenly descended from the heavens. Those hyenas that had rushed to the front were instantly submerged in a sea of flames, struck by an immense force, and left gravely wounded. They wailed in agony as they struggled, and within moments they were reduced to ash. This sudden spectacle caused the remaining hyenas to stop in their tracks, struck with terror. These 4th and 5th rank demonic beasts had already opened their spiritual intelligence. They sensed the impending danger, while the soldiers and the populace, after their initial shock, felt joy surging in their hearts. Surely an immortal master had stepped in to intervene. Everyone looked up in excitement to see a figure in purple robes descending from the sky, standing firmly between the commoners and the pack of hyenas. Illuminated by the flickering flames, he revealed a youthful and handsome countenance, leading the crowd to silently marvel at the handsome young immortal master. I looked at the dozen or so hyenas, pondering that a pack with so many 4th and 5th rank demonic beasts must surely be guarding a lair filled with a vast quantity of spiritual herbs. This was in truth quite a fortuitous windfall. Howl. The pack of spirit hyenas growled in vigilance. Although I had suppressed my cultivation realm, their instincts still sensed the impending danger. A long, mournful howl echoed through the air, a signal to retreat. The pack of spirit hyenas turned in unison and fled. Naturally, I could not allow them to escape. Whoosh, I gripped a standard black iron longsword belonging to a miscellaneous disciple. Though it was merely a standard sword, it was more than sufficient to slaughter these beasts. Boom, I stomped the ground, launching myself into the air, causing everyone below to watch with bated breath. Letting even one escape would invite an enormous hidden threat. Clang. I channeled the metal attribute spirit energy of the Yao Guang 5 Elements manual. The sword aura cascaded like a waterfall, transforming into a radiant sun that engulfed them. Rumble aura detonated, and the dozen spirit hyenas were reduced to a mist of blood and bone. Not a single one survived. Although I had only utilized the power of the 12th layer of chi condensation, the result left the entire garrison in shock. That young immortal master is truly formidable. I never expected he would not let a single one escape. The garrison commander swallowed hard in sheer astonishment. I landed, flicked my sleeve, and collected the dozen demon cores, each the size of a grain of rice, into my storage bag. Immediately after, I executed the flight technique, and taking my sword, I flew toward the north. In the darkness, the pack leader was still fleeing back to its lair. I had deliberately spared it to serve as my guide. The commoners, finally regaining their composure, shouted in gratitude toward the immortal master. I did not bother to stay. Having demonstrated my power, there was no reason to linger without receiving a reward. Truly an immortal master who holds fame and fortune in low regard. This is the example we should all respect. The garrison commander's eyes were filled with profound admiration. At this moment, an elderly man in white robes descended from the sky onto the city wall, watching my retreating figure with a slight frown. The garrison commander hurriedly spoke with great respect. "Greetings, immortal Master Lu." Lu Wenqiu was the master of the White Cloud Pavilion in Taiping County, a rogue cultivator at the 12th layer of chi condensation. "Commander Zhang, do you know the background of that fellow Taoist who just left?" "I do not know." Lu Wenqiu pondered for a moment and said, looking at his direction, "That fellow Taoist is likely pursuing the remaining spirit beasts. To prevent any mishaps from befalling that fellow Taoist, I shall head over to provide assistance. The rest of you remain here and ensure the commoners are properly settled." Bang. In the dense forest north of Taiping County, a colossal beast is fleeing in a state of panic. Run. Run as fast as you can. "Taoist, I wish to see exactly what kind of precious treasures you have hidden in your home." I follow at a distance of 100 jang, my heart filled with anticipation. However, after trailing for a while, my divine sense detects an elderly Taoist in white robes pursuing from behind. What is the meaning of a 12-level chi refining cultivator showing up here? Is this an attempt to steal my prize, or are they here to kill me and seize my treasures? I knit my brows slightly. "Fellow Taoist, please halt." Lu Wenqiu calls out to Shu. That opening line does not bode well. "Forget it. Let us see what this old Taoist truly intends." I descend decisively, ensuring that he does not ruin my mood later. Lu Wenqiu lands gracefully and asks, "I do not know why fellow Taoist has been pursuing me." I calmly respond, "The master of the White Cloud Temple in this Taiping County." "May I ask how to address you?" The old man waves his horsetail whisk, assuming the air of an expert. "I am Wang Danyu, a rogue cultivator." I cup my hands in greeting and respond, "Wang Danyu?" Lu Wenqiu is slightly startled. "Fellow Taoist Lu, it seems you have yet to answer my question." He collects his thoughts and chuckles. "I came here only out of kindness to offer a warning. A few dozen miles further ahead, there is a fire python leopard that has just reached the foundation establishment stage. It is fine for you to hunt it, fellow Taoist, but do not venture too deep lest you encounter unnecessary danger." "A fire python leopard that has just reached foundation establishment? Father, there is work to be done." My eyes light up. Lu Wenqiu is astonished. Why is Fel so excited? Is it just an illusion? Fellow Taoist Wang, do you have any other business here in Taiping County? If you require assistance, perhaps I can lend a hand. A thought crosses my mind. I had intended to head to the capital to show off, but the journey has left me feeling quite uneasy. If I could extract information about a major cultivation marketplace from this local, that would not be a bad alternative. I do indeed have a matter I require your assistance with, fellow Taoist. Fellow Taoist Lu, are you aware of any major cultivation marketplaces nearby? Naturally, I am aware. Lu Wenthu smiled and said, 500 miles to the east of Taiping County lies my county within the Jingzhou Prefecture. In the Wushan Mountains of my county, there is a large marketplace. The scale of this marketplace is second only to the one in the capital city. It is controlled by the 5 great cultivation clans of Jingzhou Prefecture. Each of these 5 clans possesses a nascent soul expert holding down the fort. Precisely because of this, Wushan Market has stood for 100 years without collapsing. Wushan, you say? I secretly committed the location to memory. If you wish to go, fellow Taoist, I can escort you at any time. I dare not trouble you, fellow Taoist. I shall make the journey myself. I shook my head, politely declining. One must always be on guard against others. Lu Wenthu nodded, showing no signs of displeasure, and after bidding farewell, he flew back toward Taiping County. That old man certainly left in a decisive manner. Could it be that he is truly a good person? It is better to remain cautious. I projected my divine sense to scout 1 mile ahead. Just when I thought I was overthinking things, I discovered a green sparrow perched on a nearby tree. Its crimson eyes were fixed intently upon me, hiding its presence exceptionally well. As expected, there are few truly good people in the world of cultivation. I sighed inwardly. A kind-hearted youth such as myself never wished to be stained by blood, yet there are always those who force my hand. This world, filled with sin, is truly cruel. I turned back to continue trailing the Dog King. Why not simply kill Lu Wenthu? If he had accomplices, wouldn't taking them all out at once yield more storage rings? That would be foolish. To avoid alerting the enemy, I did not intend to move against that fire python leopard either. Let us just consider this a good deed. After all, who told you I was so benevolent? Whoosh. Lu Wenthu rushed out of the forest and stood by the side of the main road. Under the moonlight, a glimmer of mockery flashed in the depths of his eyes. A rogue cultivator carrying several magical artifacts. If I do not rob you, then who should I rob? If you want to blame someone, boy, blame your own stupidity for not understanding the principle of never revealing your wealth. He produced 2 sound transmission jade talismans, whispered a few words, and channeled his spiritual energy into them. Pop, 2 streaks of azure light vanished into the night. Wu Mountain has no shortage of auspicious burial grounds. Consider it a blessing that you will be laid to rest there. Lu Wenshu sneered, transforming into a white crane and flying toward Taiping County. Deep in the night, I followed the trail of the Dog King, arriving before a gloomy cave. From within came the chaotic sound of barking. By the noise, I could tell there were at least several dozen spirit dogs inside. First, I would eliminate this scourge for the people, then take advantage of the opportunity to observe the concentration of spiritual energy nearby. There must be no shortage of spirit herbs in this area. This trip will certainly be quite profitable. My eyes burned with anticipation as I gripped my black iron sword and charged into their den. By the crack of dawn the next morning, I emerged from the cave. It took less than a quarter hour to slaughter the pack, and I stayed just long enough to cultivate in peace for the night. As for the spirit herbs, I had truly been negligent. These beasts were truly vile. A vast patch of vegetation, enough for refinement, along with second-grade spirit herbs and flowers, had all been trampled and chewed to pieces, destroyed until they were unrecognizable. No wonder they turned to harming humans. Once the natural resources are exhausted, they have no choice but to devour flesh and extract essence. The only stroke of luck was that they did not destroy the source nurturing the spirit herbs. A 1,000-year-old stalactite of spirit milk containing vast amounts of spiritual energy, its value is on par with 10,000 low-grade spirit stones, and at auction it would likely fetch even more. It is a decent windfall, yet clearly I could have earned much more. Damn those wretches. From now on, whenever I encounter one of their kind, I shall exterminate them all. I threw a fireball in my frustration. With a thunderous roar, the cave entrance collapsed, the earth shook and the mountains shifted, all while that blue sparrow remained hidden in the shadows, stalking me. I dared not utilize my flight technique to avoid revealing my true cultivation level. I could only employ the wind riding technique to travel toward Wu Mountain, from Jingzhou Prefecture to my county, Wu Mountain, and the marketplace. The wind riding technique is significantly slower. The journey of several hundred miles consumed more than 10 hours. Fortunately, I arrived safe and sound. By the following morning, I had reached my destination successfully. The Wu Mountain marketplace is massive in scale, resembling a small town. The majority were cultivators of the qi refining and foundation establishment stages, and furthermore, most of them kept their appearances concealed. I had long since donned a black cloak and bamboo hat, only then stepping into the marketplace. With shops and stalls too numerous to count, the turbulent flow of spiritual energy was punctuated by tremors that would quicken any man's heartbeat. Clearly, there were many cunning individuals hiding their true cultivation levels. Come and take a look, honored guests. Top-tier elixirs, profound cultivation manuals, spirit treasures, and formation arrays, we have it all. This fellow Taoist, you possess the bearing of a true immortal. Might you be interested in a divine weapon suited to your stature? Taoist, do not leave yet. This young lady is truly seeking a cultivation partner. The price can be negotiated. Upon hearing the mention of a cultivation partner, I instinctively glanced over. The young fairy was indeed quite alluring, but unfortunately her chest was far too flat. As level as a plane, I regretfully withdrew my gaze and walked directly toward the largest and most magnificent structure in the marketplace, the treasure pavilion. As soon as I crossed the threshold, the crimson wood shelves in the lobby were filled with an array of items, all of which were of middle grade or higher. Yes, this is exactly the sense of prestige I was looking for. Welcome, young master. I wonder what kind of treasure you are looking to purchase? A maidservant dressed in green robes approached with a gentle smile. The patrons in the hall possessed cultivation levels that were by no means weak, some even reaching the early stages of foundation establishment, yet the mortal maidservant did not show the slightest sign of fear, which spoke volumes about the inner strength and standing of the treasure pavilion's master. Do you have spirit tools here? I went straight to the point. We certainly do. May I ask what grade you require, young master? Do you have any specific requirements for these spirit tools? For example, whether you prefer offensive, defensive, flight-oriented, or balanced types? I am looking for a spirit sword. As for the grade, what is the highest grade you offer? Before reaching the peak of foundation establishment, one cannot forge a natal spirit sword, so I do not wish to use something temporary. The highest grade in our store is of the top tier, but as for spirit swords, we only have 3 in stock, all of which are middle tier. Middle tier is exactly the limit I can currently wield, while top tier would likely lead to a backlash. May I examine those 3 spirit swords? Certainly, please follow me upstairs, young master. Upon reaching the private room upstairs, the attendant gestured for me to wait. Moments later, an elder clad in a blue silk robe entered, making no attempt to conceal his early-stage foundation establishment cultivation base. I am Chen Yuan, the steward of Duo Bao Pavilion. Does fellow Taoist wish to purchase a magical artifact? That is correct. Might I ask how to address you? Wang Dabiao. Chen Yuan's mouth twitched slightly, though he quickly regained his composed and amicable expression. Fellow Taoist Wang, please sit, let us discuss the details. He sat across from me and produced a box made of ink-black stone. Inside lay 2 swords, one long and one short. The mid-grade spirit swords emanated a somber, flickering light. Fellow Taoist, please take a look. This is the 6-flood dragon mother-son sword forged by a master craftsman. The 2 swords can be wielded together or separately. When facing an enemy, they allow you to strike unexpectedly and catch your opponent off guard. They are perfectly suited for wood-to-tribute cultivation techniques and are excellent tools for ambush. I felt a surge of fervent admiration within, though I kept my expression neutral. With my 5-element spirit root capable of converting attributes, the compatibility was so high it was beyond question, though I had to feign hesitation to bargain. I suppressed my inner excitement with great effort. Chen Yuan then brought out 2 additional stone boxes. To the left was a wooden spirit sword with faint thunder light pulsing across its surface. To the right was a heavy, dense stone sword that looked as if it had been ground from solid earth essence marble. This wooden blade is called the Spring Thunder Sword, forged from lightning-struck spirit wood. With a single strike, it is as if one has unleashed a thunder technique. Even a mid-stage foundation establishment cultivator would not dare to block it head-on. This stone blade is named the Taiyu Sword, crafted from profound earth essence stone. It excels in both offense and defense. It can strike, crush, and serve as a shield. Chen Yuan spoke with practiced ease. My eyes burned with desire. But to drive a hard bargain, I had to remain indifferent. Steward Chen, may I test these 3 swords? Certainly, but given your cultivation level, wielding mid-grade spirit swords may prove somewhat taxing. Fellow Taoist, take care not to injure yourself. Having received permission, I pretended to exert my full strength, grasping the Spring Thunder Sword and channeling my spirit energy. The blade crackled with thunder, its momentum truly imposing. After testing all 3, I decided to take them all. Only a child chooses one when they can have them all. However, so as not to appear excessively wealthy, I put on a troubled look. May I ask, Steward Chen, what is the price for these 3 spirit swords? Chen Yuan smiled and replied, the 6-flood dragon mother-son sword is 50,000 low-grade spirit stones, while the Spring Thunder Sword and the Taiyu Sword are 40,000 low-grade spirit stones each. To be perfectly honest, this is the lowest price I can offer you, fellow Taoist Wang. I could not produce 130,000 spirit stones in cash, but 3 foundation establishment pills would be more than enough to cover the debt. I took out 1 foundation establishment pill first. I wonder what value you place on this foundation establishment pill, Steward Chen? A foundation establishment pill, you say? Chen Yuan accepted it for inspection, his expression shifting to one of astonishment. This is actually a top-grade foundation establishment pill. This is truly an excellent start. I wonder where fellow Taoist Wang obtained this medicinal pill, perhaps by chance? May I ask what price Steward Chen is willing to set for it? If this single foundation establishment pill were to be brought to an auction, it would fetch at least 50,000 low-grade spirit stones. 50,000? Are you certain, Steward Chen? I raised an eyebrow slightly. Does fellow Taoist Wang find that amount insufficient? Very well, perhaps I can add another 5,000. Chen Yuan spoke with hesitation. Let us settle on that then. I chuckled softly and immediately produced 2 more foundation establishment pills. At 55,000 each, 3 pills would total 165,000. I will take all 3 spirit swords. Steward Chen, please return the remaining 35,000 low-grade spirit stones to me. Walking out of Duo Bao Pavilion, my back was held perfectly straight, my stride carrying the force of the wind. With 3 mid-grade spirit swords of formidable power inside my storage bag, I felt a natural sense of certainty in my heart. The only regret was that they did not sell divine abilities or cultivation techniques here. Fortunately, Chen Yuan had provided a reminder. Chen Yuan Pavilion is situated upon Wu Mountain. Ascending the steps, I entered the mist midway up the cliffside. This fog was conjured by a formation, restricting my divine sense to a range of only 2 zhang, yet this paradoxically put me at ease. Entering the main hall of Chen Yuan Pavilion, the view suddenly cleared. A beautiful attendant approached to greet me, wearing a practiced professional smile. Is this young master here to participate in the auction? I am looking to purchase divine abilities and cultivation techniques. Does your Chen Yuan Pavilion have them in stock? I went straight to the point. Yes, we do. Our pavilion currently has 2 manuals for sale, and one is included in the auction catalog. Then, may I take a look at them? Certainly. However, you may only view the summary copies. I entered the stone chamber, which was isolated from divine sense. Shortly after, a steward in the early Foundation establishment stage entered. With a faint smile, he said, "I have kept you waiting, fellow Taoist. I am Shu Zhiheng. May I ask how to address you?" Wang Daniel. So it is fellow Taoist Wang here. Shu Zhiheng sat down opposite me and produced 3 jade slips. Fellow Taoist, please take a look. These are all the divine abilities and spells currently available in our Chen Yuan Pavilion. As you surely know, divine abilities and spells are the foundation of a cultivator. The more powerful they are, the less likely they are to be circulated freely. Do not be deceived by the fact that our Chen Yuan Pavilion only holds 3, fellow Taoist. These 3 are by no means comparable to common inferior goods. I examined them one by one. The first 2, the 9 Heavens Divine Thunder Art and the Cloud Mist Heaven, were unsuitable. The Sword Art of the Elder Brother was compatible with Wind and Lightning spiritual roots, respectively, and did not suit my 5 element spiritual roots. The third one, the Immortal Soldier Sword Art, was finally a match. This technique consists of 3 forms: Hidden Sword, Sword Speed Flow, and the Ultimate Sublimation, the self-detonating flying sword, which possesses immense destructive power. However, its fatal flaw is the requirement to refine a sword core. According to the general manual, it is difficult even for a master to refine a high-grade sword core in a lifetime. It is entirely a money-burning technique, designed specifically for the wealthy. Yet that is precisely why it remains neglected in this low-level world. It is perfectly suited for someone like me who desperately needs equipment. I set the jade slip down and feigned a troubled expression. Steward Shu, does the pavilion truly have no other divine abilities or spells? There are none left. Shu Zhiheng sighed softly. In this era, divine abilities and spells are not so easily acquired. That is true, I pondered for a moment. Then, for how many spirit stones is this Immortal Soldier Sword Art being sold? If fellow Taoist Wang is sincere about the purchase, then 10,000 low-grade spirit stones will suffice. Farewell. I stood up decisively. Did he take me for a fool to be fleeced? Unless one owned a gold mine, who would bother training in such a thing? Shu Zhiheng was slightly stunned and hurriedly blocked my path. Fellow Taoist Wang, wait a moment. Business is always open to negotiation. If you are dissatisfied with the price, you need only state it plainly. I did not say that bargaining was out of the question. Steward Shu, I came here because I trusted your Chen Yuan Pavilion. Do not let my name deign you, lead you to believe I am a simpleton. 10,000 spirit stones. Look at me. Do I appear to be worth 10,000? Fellow Taoist Wang, you jest. How about this? What is your opinion on 5,000 spirit stones? I shook my head and held up 5 fingers. 5,000 spirit stones is for a typical chi condensation cultivator. Basic techniques are worth but a few spirit stones, and those that can lead one to the foundation establishment stage only cost a dozen or so. This Immortal Soldier Sword manual may look impressive, but whether it can truly contend with a golden core expert is an entirely different matter. Offering 5,000 spirit stones is quite a hefty price. Before I could even finish my sentence, Shu Zhiheng decisively pressed the complete jade slip into my hand and earnestly said, 5,000 spirit stones, it is settled. Damn, it seems even you know that no one else would bother buying this piece of trash. Fellow Taoist Wang, please do come again next time. Accompanied by Shu Zhiheng's polite dismissal, I stepped out of Cheyenne Pavilion with a sullen face, cursing the unscrupulous merchant under my breath. Leaving the Wushan marketplace, I decided to first head to Taoyuan County to eliminate the blood-tailed wolves, and then stop by the Divine Weapon Hall in the capital to find someone to forge a sword pellet. I hadn't traveled far before reaching a clearing in the woods, where a familiar figure stood clearly before me. Blocking my path was Lu Wenqiu, whom I had encountered the previous night. He held a whisk in his hand, looking every bit like an enlightened master, and wore a gentle smile as he looked at me. Fellow Taoist Wang, we meet again. I smiled back. After waiting so long, this miser had finally arrived. So it is fellow Taoist Lu. May I ask what brings you to this place? Lu Wenqiu countered with a question. It seems fellow Taoist Wang has just come from the marketplace. I wonder, did you make any acquisitions? I wouldn't call it an acquisition, merely purchasing a few spiritual artifacts. I stood with my hands behind my back, speaking with a calm expression. Purchasing a few spiritual artifacts? The corner of Lu Wenqiu's mouth twitched. A mere rogue cultivator daring to boast so brazenly, as if spiritual artifacts were nothing more than common vegetables. He chuckled. Fellow Taoist Wang, you must be joking. Who would be joking with you? I raised my voice. You think I cannot afford them, or that the Wushan marketplace simply doesn't sell them? Lu Wen's expression shifted. Fellow Taoist Wang, could it be that you truly purchased spiritual artifacts? You tell me. Lu Wenqiu's expression turned icy. For you to mock me like this, it seems you are already well aware of the reason I have come here today. To block my path in broad daylight with 2 cohorts hiding in the shadows. If it is not to kill for treasures, I truly cannot fathom what else you could be planning. Tell me, am I correct? Fellow Taoist Lu? I wore a smile that did not reach my eyes. Respond. Lu Wenchu sneered. Fellow Taoist Wang, your instincts are truly sharp. I never imagined you would uncover our presence so easily. As the words left his lips, a youth stepped out from behind a tree, followed by an elder. An elder at the 12th level of Qi refining and a youth at the 11th level. This old man is Zhang Buping. I am Qin Shuwen, and I have long heard of your reputation, fellow Taoist Wang. Just a group of impoverished rogue cultivators. Seeing they possessed no decent magical artifacts, a hint of disappointment washed over me. But meat is still meat. Since you have all revealed yourselves, let us dispense with the idle chatter. Attack all at once. I have pressing matters to attend to and no time to squander on the likes of you. I stood with my hands behind my back, my expression calm. The three of them were stunned by my blatant contempt. Interesting. Lu Wenqiu laughed heartily. Since you are so confident, fellow Taoist, then the three of us will dispense with the pleasantries. After all, in this business of killing for treasure, the greatest fear is that the night may bring unforeseen complications. I gave a thumbs up, causing the smile on Lu Wenqiu's face to stiffen. His expression darkened. Why is this Wang Daibiao not showing even the slightest shred of fear? Fellow Taoist Lu, I recently chanced upon a mid-grade magical artifact. I shall use fellow Taoist Wang to test its might. Zhang Buping smiled faintly, summoning a pair of golden scissors that radiated a brilliant blinding light. The golden scissors transformed into a streak of light, lunging toward me. Lu Wenqiu was inwardly startled, never expecting Zhang Buping to possess such an artifact. But in the very next instant, a yellow earth-toned aura manifested around my body, ensnaring the golden scissors as if they had fallen into a mire of mud. Expected. Fellow Taoist Zhang, you are truly making a fool of yourself. I offered a mocking smile and, with a motion as effortless as reaching into a pocket, stowed the golden scissors into my storage ring. The first spoils of war. Sensing the aura radiating from me, all three of them paled with terror. Foundation establishment. Early stage. Were you concealing your cultivation even while hunting spirit beasts the other day? Lu Wenqiu stammered in shock. Venturing into the world, safety is paramount. If you cannot even grasp this basic principle, then you deserve to be killed in return. I clenched my fist, and the Lu Jiao Motherson swords instantly materialized. A spirit. Did you truly purchase a spiritual artifact? Lu Wenqiu was stunned into silence. Fellow Taoist Lu, I have suddenly remembered that my wife is due to give birth. I shall not stay any longer. Let us part ways here. Chen Shuan was drenched in a cold sweat, turning on his heels to flee. Do you think you can escape? Can you run faster than a flying sword? Zip. The six-flood mother-childs transformed into a streak of azure light, piercing through Chen Shuan's body with a dull thud. He glanced down at the bloodied hole in his chest before collapsing in agony. Fellow Taoist Chen, Lu Wenqiu's heart skipped a beat. Against a Foundation establishment cultivator, they stood absolutely no chance. Do not kill me, fellow Taoist Wang. I am willing to hand over all my possessions. I only beg you to grant this old man a path to survival. Zhang Buping wept bitterly, falling to his knees to kowtow. I replied coldly, it seems your age has truly muddled your wits. If I kill you, will your storage bag not belong to me regardless? With a flick of my finger, the six-flood mother-child swords retracted, flashed with green light, and instantly pierced through Zhang Buping's throat. Lu Wenqiu was terrified out of his wits, pushing his wind manipulation technique to its absolute limit to flee in a frenzy, but a streak of azure light suddenly materialized directly in front of him. Unable to dodge in time, he collided headfirst into the blade. With a sword strike through the heart, I was momentarily taken aback. Is fellow Taoist Lu trying to spare me the karmic burden of killing? How remarkably kind-hearted of him. Filled with gratitude, I retrieved the 3 storage bags, cast 3 fireball techniques to dispose of the remains, and flew directly toward Taoyuan County, wary of alarming the common folk. I descended outside the city walls and entered, finding an inn to inventory my spoils. Within the storage bags of Chen Shuan and Zhang Buping were a modest amount of spirit stones, medicinal pills, spiritual talismans, and low-grade Dharma artifacts. A decent haul. However, Lu Wenqiu's storage bag left me stunned. It was practically empty, containing only a defective semi-spiritual sword and a pile of brushes, ink, paper, and inkstones for talisman crafting. Be a shop owner like him, how truly pathetic. Having lost interest, I stowed away this heap of trash, though even if it was rather pathetic, the semi-spiritual sword could serve as a temporary substitute, preventing my mid-grade spirit sword from drawing unnecessary attention. The brushes and ink could also be used to learn talisman crafting in the future. At dusk, I arrived at the inn's main hall to order wine and meat. The room was filled with the clamor of a bustling crowd. Is it always this crowded here? I asked, filled with curiosity. The waiter shook his head, noting only that there had been reports of several formidable spirit demons appearing outside the city recently. Consequently, wealthy families from the surrounding villages had all fled into the city to take refuge. Several of them? I furrowed my brow slightly. Did the mission brief not state that there was only a single spirit demon? Could the local magistrate's office not devise a way to handle this? I asked. The waiter pointed toward the door. Those individuals are servants of the immortal masters. They are following the masters to slay the demons. The magistrate has already invited numerous immortal masters, claiming that the spirit demons are too powerful for a small group to resolve. If that is the case, I must hasten my progress. If someone else were to snatch the reward before I arrive, I would have to return and reclaim the mission all over again. However, with the sudden increase in the number of spirit demons, it is uncertain if any exceed the foundation establishment stage. Perhaps I should head out tonight to find a few companions? Many disciples from various immortal sects have arrived in Taoyuan County, so this should not be difficult. After some deep contemplation, I decided that finding allies was the prudent choice. At the very least, it would provide me with a window to react should danger arise. As the night deepened, Taoyuan County became even more bustling and clamorous. Once I had finished my meal, I cast out my divine sense to search for a reliable partner in demon slaying. Ideally, someone at the early stage of foundation establishment. At the very least, they could not be below the 10th level of chi refining. Otherwise, should danger occur, they would not even qualify as a meat shield. Yet, as I walked, my divine sense suddenly detected an acquaintance tailing me. I did not expect her to actually contemplate an ambush. For one so young, she is truly ruthless. I sneered inwardly, yet I chose not to expose her. I was wary of the various life-saving artifacts in the possession of this girl. I truly desired to kill her and seize her treasures. Unfortunately, she is, after all, an intersect genius whose master is a powerful figure. I have no desire to be counter-killed. If I cannot meet this head-on, I shall lose her. I resolutely quickened my pace toward the county magistrate's office. I am a disciple of a Holy Land. It is only natural for me to head to the county office. Furthermore, my divine sense had detected many chi-refining cultivators heading in that same direction. The magistrate's office must be the staging ground for the demon slayers. With so many cultivators gathered there, I do not believe Non-Muling would dare to strike. Why did he suddenly accelerate? At a sugar figurine stall, Non-Muling caught sight of me quickening my pace from the corner of her eye, and her brow furrowed slightly. Could it be that he has discovered I am following him? Yet we are separated by dozens of meters. He is merely at the 4th level of the chi refining stage, so how could he have detected my presence? Looking at his trajectory, it seems he is heading toward the county magistrate's office. Could he be in such a rush to inquire about the status of his mission? Forget it, let him be. Since he has entered, he will certainly come out eventually. I shall simply wait and follow him. She has firmly resolved to seize the opportunity to teach me a lesson before the doors of the magistrate's office. 2 bailiffs stood guard, their hands resting firmly upon the hilts of their blades. An elderly man in green robes, a 12th level chi refining cultivator, sat cross-legged beside the grievance drum, tasked with verifying the cultivation levels of all visiting cultivators. As soon as I entered the gate, a servant approached me with a respectful bow. "Greetings, Immortal Master. Do you intend to stay here at the county office?" "Yes." I nodded and asked, "How many fellow Taoists are currently staying within the office?" "Approximately 20 or 30, though some have departed on missions and are not currently in the yamen." "Are they all rogue cultivators?" "Not necessarily. There are also several Immortal Masters from nearby sects. Among them are some who are young, much like yourself, Immortal Master." I followed the servant toward the inner courtyard, passing several cultivators at the 5th level of chi refining along the way, and the 6th level. Under the scrutiny of my divine sense, I realized the highest combat power within the magistrate's office was that old man at the chi refining stage. With him at the 12th level great perfection standing outside, I am the only one here at the foundation establishment stage. According to the servant, the most powerful spirit demon appeared 3 days ago. It was level 12, equivalent to the 12th level of chi refining. If the situation remains unchanged, the number of cultivators currently in the magistrate's office should be sufficient to deal with it. Most of these cultivators have come for the imperial bounty. After all, time is precious, and without profit, few would be willing to risk their lives. The servant led me to a tranquil guest courtyard adorned with peach trees. Beside a stone table, 2 men and 1 woman were drinking wine. Seeing me approach, they stood up to greet me. A cultivator with delicate features asked with curiosity, "Fellow Taoist, you look somewhat unfamiliar. Have you just arrived?" "Indeed," I replied, introducing myself. "I am Wang Daobiao, a rogue cultivator. May I ask how the 3 of you should be addressed?" Upon hearing that I was a rogue cultivator, the expressions of the 3 shifted slightly, and they offered only polite smiles. "I am He Tuan, an outer disciple of the Lingguang Mountain sect." The delicate-looking male cultivator cupped his hands and gestured toward the other 2 to introduce them. Junior sister Chen Ying, much like myself, possesses a cultivation base at the 7th level of the chi refining stage. "Greetings, fellow Taoists." I gave a slight nod. Chen Ying smiled faintly. "Fellow Taoist Wang, you have arrived a bit late. The only room left in this courtyard is the small one in the corner. If you intend to stay here, I fear you will have to make do with modest accommodations for the night. It is of no consequence. I have no particular requirements regarding the size of the room," I replied with a smile. "He too, Wen and I have made all the necessary arrangements. At dawn tomorrow, we shall depart with the Yamen's head constable to guide us into the Great Qing Mountain to suppress the demons. Would you like to join us on this journey into the mountains?" Although their cultivation levels did not meet my own standards, the Great Qing Mountain likely held no significant threats. Thus, I nodded in agreement. Very well, yet the fact that the 3 of them showed no disdain or rejection toward my low cultivation level stirred a sense of vigilance within me. As the moon rose to its zenith, each of us retreated to our respective rooms. I sat cross-legged upon the wooden bed, preparing to cultivate. For those with inferior talent, hard work is mandatory lest one abandon all hope of attaining eternal life. Just as I withdrew a 2nd-grade Peiyuan pill and prepared to consume it, the sound of a door opening echoed through the courtyard. Someone had stepped out. My divine sense swept across, and to my surprise, I discovered that Lu Heng had pushed open the door to Chen Ying's room. Junior sister, I am here. Have you missed me? He climbed onto the bed with practiced ease, wrapping his arms around Chen Ying's waist. Senior brother, do not behave so recklessly. Be careful, someone might hear us. Chen Ying trembled, feigning modesty. It matters not. I have already added a little something to our junior brother's wine. He will not wake up for the remainder of the night. As for that fellow named Wang, he is merely a lowly scapegoat. Once we enter the mountains, he shall certainly meet his end. Even if he were to hear us, it would be of no concern. But it is still not right. Senior brother, my injuries from our last encounter have not yet fully healed. Let us wait until another time. So they intend to use me as a scapegoat in the mountains. No wonder their attitude was so amiable upon my arrival. How amusing. I let out a cold laugh in my heart. The world of cultivation is filled with treachery and schemes. Though I hold fast to my principles and do not proactively kill to seize treasures, if there are those who actively seek their own deaths, then a transaction that is guaranteed to be profitable is one I will certainly not refuse. At dawn the following day, in the gloomy alley opposite the county yamen, Nyan Muling gritted her teeth, staring fixedly at the main gate. Waiting the entire night without seeing me emerge caused a prodigy like her to fly into a rage. Very well, Chin-fan, so you intend to never step foot outside? Then I shall leave the city, slaughter the blood-tailed wolves, and wait for you along the path back. I refuse to believe I cannot ambush you. The rear courtyard of the magistrate's office. Peach blossoms fell sporadically. Having finished the breakfast prepared by the officials, it was nearly noon. He-Tuan came to knock on my door, urging me to depart. The group of cultivators, led by the chief constable and the soldiers, headed toward Docking Mountain. It was only because the old man in blue was there to preside that these immortal masters could be kept in check. The yamen officials served as guides only because they were executing the magistrate's order to evacuate the commoners and prevent senseless casualties. This magistrate seems to be a virtuous official after all. King Mountain stretches for hundreds of miles, shrouded in mist year-round. This place yields many medicinal herbs beneficial to mortals, which is why Daoyan County is known as the County of Longevity. After scanning the area, I mused that this place is rich in natural treasures, a land of exceptional spirits. The spiritual energy of Daqing Mountain was once thin, yet now it is surging. If there are no unforeseen circumstances, a spiritual herb must have reached maturity within these mountains. No wonder the wolf demons have increased in number so drastically. Standing at the foot of the mountain, the old man in blue scanned the crowd and spoke. Everyone, that level 12 wolf demon was previously gravely wounded by me, and it fled into these mountains. However, this demonic beast has skin as tough as copper and iron, possesses immense strength, and is well versed in demonic arts. If you happen to encounter it, do not be arrogant or careless. If you realize you are not its match, use fire-based arts to signal for help. Everyone understood. In this mountain, only that wolf demon was worth being wary of. Fellow Taoist Wang, once we enter the mountain, to avoid any accidents, do not stray too far from us. He-Tuan reminded me. Understood. I know. I nodded slightly. The old man in blue and the arrogant, middle-aged cultivator in black, both possessing deep cultivation bases, each employed their own techniques and vanished into the mountain forest in an instant. The remaining cultivators stayed together obediently. Let us move as well. He-Tuan patted my shoulder and led the way, following the group. My brows twitched. I looked down at the spot where I had been struck, a cold smile forming in my heart as I wondered what he had just smeared upon me. That powder was colorless and odorless. If my divine sense had not been so keen, I would surely have failed to detect it. As soon as we entered the Great Qing Mountain, the light suddenly dimmed. Snap! A green, mildly venomous snake lunged from the roadside to attack, but I pinched it firmly between two fingers. So many people had passed by before me without incident, yet it chose to target me specifically. It was clearly the work of the powder He-Tuan had planted. Fellow Taoist Wang is truly vigilant. Even I failed to notice this snake, Lu Heng remarked with feigned surprise. Perhaps it is simply because fellow Taoist Lu did not sleep well last night. I replied with indifference. The smile on Lu Heng's face stiffened and a flash of sinister intent crossed his eyes. Senior brother, I believe we should increase our pace. We are about to lose sight of the others ahead. He-Tuan reminded him. Lu Heng nodded, but while his words suggested haste, the three of them moved with calculated slowness, and before long they had fallen completely behind. I shall see exactly what sort of trick you intend to play. After traveling for over an hour, a faint silhouette emerged on the hillside ahead, its green eyes glinting with predatory intent. He-Tuan raised a hand to signal a halt, while simultaneously gesturing for Lu Heng and Chen Ying to widen the distance between us. I moved forward step by step, having long since detected the rank 4 blood-tailed wolf, though I maintained a facade of calm. With a low howl, the blood-tailed wolf could no longer restrain itself. It lunged toward me with ferocity. Seeing that I was about to be struck, the three of them, He-Tuan and his companions, showed no sign of panic. On the contrary, their faces betrayed a sense of delight. The powder is indeed taking effect. They truly are tired of living. I spoke with composure and flicked my sword finger, releasing a streak of golden light that pierced the skull of the blood-tailed wolf. Its massive body collapsed onto the earth with a thunderous crash, its eyes rolling back into its head. He-Tuan and his group were stunned. The reaction was far too fast. Could this fellow really be this formidable? While it may not have been a swift execution of their plan, the ease with which he countered such a beast was deeply unsettling. The three of you, why have you distanced yourselves so far from me? I pried out the demonic core and retracted my golden sword. As I gazed at them with a meaningful look, the three stood rooted to the— Lu Heng offered a strained smile. It is just that there was a matter to discuss, which is why I stood a bit further away from you, fellow Taoist. Discuss a matter? What kind of matter? Would it be possible for you to share it with me? I am afraid that is not possible. This is a confidential matter of our sect, Lu Heng replied, appearing apologetic. Confidential? I gave a mocking laugh. Lingguang Mountain is, after all, a prestigious sect. The secret that you three fellow Taoists speak of. Surely it is not that you intend to use me as bait? To lure out the demonic beasts, is it? With their scheme exposed, all three turned pale, their eyes glinting with cold intent. You have deduced it all already? Lu Heng narrowed his eyes. I must say, the strength behind fellow Taoist he's pat on the shoulder earlier was truly excessive. I stood there with my hands clasped, my voice dripping with sarcasm. He too unfurrowed his brows. Since you realized it beforehand, why did you still follow us into the mountains? Guess why? Could it be that you believe you have some form of backing? He too asked, filled with doubt. Perhaps I am merely concealing my cultivation level. What do you think? His expression shifted slightly before he immediately laughed. We are at Dacheng Mountain to slay demonic beasts. Even if you are hiding your cultivation, so what? You couldn't possibly be a Foundation Establishment stage cultivator, could you? What Foundation Establishment cultivator would waste their time in a place like this? He was certain I was putting on a front. If I am not mistaken, you have only just realized the situation now. Lu Heng added with a sneer. You speak these words merely to force us to be cautious. It is a pity, however, that you underestimate us too much. We are not as foolish as you might think. I laughed out loud, thinking oneself clever. It is truly a path to one's own destruction. Senior brother, I see no point in wasting words with him. Let us teach him a lesson so he understands exactly whose hands his miserable life is in, Chen Ying said, losing her patience. Lu Heng signaled with his eyes, and he too withdrew a rope emitting a faint green light. Then I shall be the one to act. Fellow Taoist Wang, I have no desire to bully you. If you are willing to obey us quietly, I may grant you a path to survive. What do you think? Your arrogance is truly boundless. I spoke calmly. With a cultivation base of only the 7th level of qi refining, you truly believe yourself to be peerless under the heavens? You are truly tired of living. Hatu Van's expression darkened as he activated the rope. The green spirit bind shot forward like a dragon to ensnare me, a high-grade magic treasure. This is quite impressive. This trip to Daonuan County has not been in vain. Time to collect it. I surged my aura to the great perfection of the 12th level of qi refining. I cast a water shield, bringing the rope, my first trophy, to a sudden halt. I smiled faintly, reached out and grasped the green spirit bind. My green spirit bind. Hatu Van was struck with terror. You are actually at the great perfection of the 12th level of qi refining? I told you I was concealing my cultivation, yet you refused to believe me. I withdrew the green spirit bind and sneered. If you have any other tricks, reveal them all now. I wish to see just how formidable the disciples of Lingguang Mountain truly are. Lu Heng and Tran On were also filled with shock, but Lu Heng quickly let out a cold snort. So what if you are at the 12th level of qi refining? As long as you have not reached the Foundation Establishment stage, you will die all the same. He retrieved a crimson fire talisman and crushed it instantly. The raging flames transformed into a fire dragon, roaring as it lunged toward me. A mid-grade spirit talisman. My pupils constricted slightly. This was a trump card containing the power of the Foundation Establishment stage, worth tens of thousands of spirit stones. So that is why you dared to use me as bait. It seems you were relying on the power of wealth. The treasures within the storage ring of this man surnamed Lu must be quite substantial. Go to hell. Lu Heng laughed viciously. Fireball technique. I waved my hand, unleashing a giant fireball as brilliant as the sun. A thunderous explosion echoed. The fire dragon shattered instantly, and a wave of heat swept away the mist for dozens of feet. The three of them stared with widened eyes, filled with dread. At this moment, I revealed my true aura. It was clearly the early stage of Foundation Establishment. This is impossible. Lu Heng's eyes turned bloodshot, unable to accept the truth. Why would a Foundation Establishment cultivator like you come to this great Qing mountain? This is completely unreasonable. Who says an expert cannot come to a starter village to bully the weak? I spoke indifferently. I can only say that you are reaping what you have sown. If you had not harbored evil intentions, I would have had no reason to take action against you. Having said that, I tapped my fingers to form a sword seal, causing the golden light to split in two, transforming into two streaks of light that surged toward Lu Heng and Hatu Van. Magma shield. Lu Heng was struck with terror and hastily withdrew a high-grade defensive artifact that flowed with molten lava. Clang, 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 the golden shears collided with it in rapid succession. The immense force of the impact sent Lu Heng reeling backward repeatedly. Finally, a single slash from the blade severed his throat. A jet of hot blood sprayed forth, his eyes widened in shock. He collapsed into a pool of blood, dying with his eyes wide open in disbelief. A fine treasure indeed, I remarked, fixing my gaze upon the lava shield lying on the ground. My eyes gleamed. This high-grade defensive artifact was comparable to a peak-grade offensive weapon. Xinghe too had only a mid-grade Dharma sword. It was completely unable to withstand the golden shears, and he was instantly impaled through the heart. His life force was extinguished, and with a dull thud, Chen Ying collapsed to the ground in terror. Her beautiful face had turned deathly pale. Only moments ago, these senior brothers had been laughing and joking, yet in the blink of an eye, they had become mere corpses. I gathered the scattered artifacts into my storage ring, my expression indifferent as I turned my gaze toward her. No, please, don't kill me. Chen Ying crawled toward my feet in a panic, begging incessantly. As long as you spare me, senior, I will do anything you ask. You can treat me however you please. I will do whatever you desire. I know many techniques to please you. I looked down at her askance and spoke nonchalantly. By your words, Taoist, are you suggesting that you wish to offer yourself? A glimmer of delight flashed in Chen Ying's eyes, and she replied with a shy, reddening face, if that is what you desire, senior, I can do it right now. Swish, a flash of golden light instantly sliced across her throat. Chen Ying's eyes widened, filled with utter disbelief. Apologies, but I have no interest in leftovers. I delivered the words coldly, surging my spiritual energy to cast her aside while casually collecting the storage rings from all three of them and scanning them with my divine sense. The abundance of resources and cultivation techniques within left me unable to suppress a raised eyebrow. This lad surnamed Lu was undoubtedly a scion of a prominent family in the world of cultivation. Excellent, it is another day of bountiful harvest. I narrowed my eyes in satisfaction, unhesitatingly claiming the spoils of war. After using 3 fireballs to dispose of the bodies and erase all traces, I changed into a plain set of green robes. My Zilu attire had been stained with beast-detracting powder. Continuing to wear it would only bring endless trouble. I have no intention of wasting my time while searching for precious medicinal herbs. The wood element spiritual energy is particularly dense to the east. I suspect that he decided to head over and investigate. Ordinary demon pills held no more allure for him, but spiritual herbs nourished by such dense spiritual energy were certainly no trivial matter. At the same moment, deep within the southern reaches of the Docking Mountains, the green-robed elder Chen Fei had just dispatched a savage tiger that had ambushed him with a blade of wind, when he suddenly turned his gaze toward the east. The disturbance was immense. With such astonishing spiritual energy, could it be that a rare spiritual herb had finally matured? He immediately rode the wind, dashing toward an open clearing. Before him lay a desolate, frigid cave dwelling, where only a few blood-tailed wolves remained, guarding a lush, verdant fruit tree bearing what appeared to be green apples. This is the Thon Huan jade fruit tree, which blooms after 500 years and bears fruit after another 500. This is the very spiritual fruit capable of refining third-grade medicinal elixirs. To think such a treasure exists within these Docking Mountains. Could this be a fortuitous encounter bestowed upon me by the heavens? Chen Fi, whose lifespan was rapidly approaching its end, was overcome with uncontrollable joy. Very well, he who refuses a gift from heaven shall surely be punished. These Thonhuyan jade fruits I Chen Fei will accept without ceremony. Facing the blood-tailed wolves that blocked his path, a flash of killing intent ignited within him. He tossed out several low-grade spiritual talismans, striking the demonic wolves until they were scorched black and left gasping for air. He breathed heavily, reaching his hand toward the spiritual fruit. Thonhuyan jade fruit, you are mine at last. But as his gaze swept across the branch, he noticed clear signs that other fruits had been plucked long before his arrival. Just as he stood stunned, a howl erupted from within the cave, shaking the very heavens and earth. Boom! A blood-tailed wolf, as massive as a small mountain, surged out amidst a violent gale, its pressure truly terrifying. Chen Fei's face flushed a deep crimson and he turned to flee in a desperate frenzy. He realized then that the beast had consumed the unripe Thonhuyan jade fruit to force a breakthrough in its cultivation. Boom! With dark clouds gathering, the blood-tailed wolf, now at the foundation establishment stage, leaped into the air, its speed far surpassing that of the chi condensation stage. It is over. Chen Fei felt his heart shatter. With a thunderous crash, the wolf descended like a meteor, pinning him firmly into the forest floor. The sound of snapping bones rang out incessantly. Chen Fei was reduced to a pulp of flesh and blood. With his breath fading, he struggled to open his eyes, desperate to call for help from a dark silhouette approaching through the woods, but that figure merely turned his back and fled. His final shred of hope was utterly extinguished. Save me. He closed his eyes in despair, while the blood-tailed wolf looked down upon him with the arrogant posture of a victor. Human, you may die now. But just as the claw was about to descend, I happened to arrive and let out a voice of astonishment. A blood-tailed wolf at the early stage of foundation establishment? Mystic Jade Fruit, fellow Taoist Chen, my, who would have thought this place held so many treasures? Does this not mean I am about to strike it rich? In the final moments before losing consciousness, Chen Fei was slightly stunned. Between the Mystic Jade Fruit and the blood-tailed wolf, aside from an old man like himself, what exactly could be considered a treasure here? After all, having an elder in the household is like having a hidden vault of treasures. Who are you? The blood-tailed wolf suddenly turned its head, glaring at me with eyes full of wariness. Although I appeared young, I emanated an aura of extreme danger. Surely I was at the foundation establishment stage. It seems you have harvested the Mystic Jade Fruit to achieve your recent breakthrough, I remarked, observing it with curiosity. Its aura was unstable. It was undoubtedly that Tier 12 demonic wolf that had been severely wounded. Little brat, who on earth are you? The blood-tailed wolf grew increasingly uneasy. You tell me, I asked nonchalantly. Are you looking down on this king? A flash of rage appeared in the wolf's eyes, and I immediately laughed aloud. You, a mere blood-tailed wolf, dare to refer to yourself as a king? Within the demon tribe there are countless wolf lineages far superior to yours. Are you not afraid your own kind will laugh until their teeth fall out? The blood-tailed wolf roared in a fit of manic fury. A foul gust of wind accompanied by a wave of putrid saliva surged toward me. My expression shifted slightly as I hurriedly manifested an earth-yellow protective barrier to repel the toxic wind. Good thing that was close, I almost lost my cleanliness. I exhaled in relief. My reaction had been fast enough to avoid being splattered by the saliva. The mere thought of it was nauseating. For heaven knows how many years this beast had gone without brushing its teeth. To inhale a lungful of that accumulated stench would truly be enough to cause one to faint. Insolent human cultivator, you have successfully enraged this king. I shall devour you now. As if suffering the ultimate humiliation, the blood-tailed wolf let out a roar and lunged straight for me. Boom, it moved with such speed that it even broke the sound barrier. It certainly possessed some capability. I was mildly surprised and decisively withdrew the spirit-binding chain. This high-grade Dharma artifact is more than sufficient to deal with a demonic wolf that has only just achieved a breakthrough. Whoosh! The green spirit bind transformed into a ribbon of emerald light, piercing through the void to strike from the most lethal angles, aiming to bind it tight. What a formidable magical artifact. Get lost at once before this king. The blood-tailed wolf was greatly alarmed. Its blood-red tail lashed out, releasing a surge of spiritual energy so powerful that it struck the green spirit bind away. Thud! The blood-tailed wolf landed heavily upon the earth, and an azure light immediately began to envelop the ground. Having awakened its innate divine ability, it let out a low growl. Vines, appearing as if they were living creatures, surged forth. With a thunderous boom, they erupted from the ground simultaneously, charging toward me. They came from every direction. There was no room to retreat. To think this blood-tailed wolf had actually awakened an innate divine ability? Could its bloodline truly be so extraordinary? I was quite surprised. I had assumed it would only know how to charge blindly, never expecting it to possess such arcane arts. Swish, swish, swish! In the blink of an eye, the vines woven together to form a cage. As it trapped me within, I felt no panic. This was merely a trifling trick. With a gentle tap of my sword finger, the golden shears transformed into two beams of golden light, spinning rapidly to sever the wooden cage. I leapt out of the encirclement, controlling both artifacts to assault the blood-tailed wolf. Not stopping there, I simultaneously unleashed several fireball techniques. Boom, boom, boom! In an instant, the ground below turned into a sea of fire, and all the vines were incinerated into ash. This cultivator is truly formidable. The blood-tailed wolf was struck with terror, turning its head to flee. Do you think you can escape? With a flicker of my intent, the semi-spirit grade Shuihan sword hovered before me. Infused with water spiritual energy, it transformed into a chilling pale blue radiance. It shot forth like a falling star. The icy aura bore down from... The blood-tailed wolf looked back in horror and cast its divine ability, Wood Shield. It desperately channeled its energy, and the dense wood spiritual power coalesced into a glowing barrier. Crash! The Shuihan sword struck with an unstoppable force, shattering the light shield. With a sharp thud, it pierced through the skull of the blood-tailed wolf. Its massive body collapsed, devoid of strength. I retrieved my Dharma treasure and maneuvered the golden shears to extract the demon core. The demon core, the size of a fingernail, was round and translucent, possessing an incredibly dense wood attribute spirit energy. Another second-grade pill ingredient secured. Slaying a demon with one's own hands to claim its core truly brings a greater sense of accomplishment. The fur of this Foundation Establishment stage bloodtail wolf is also a fine material for artifact refining. It must not go to waste. I produced an empty storage bag, collected the entire wolf carcass, and casually used the golden shears to harvest the profound jade fruit as well. After finishing these tasks, I looked toward Chen Feiqi in the pit. I had intended to lend a hand out of humanitarian principles, but it is a pity that you have already gone completely cold. Ha, fellow Taoist Chen, dying on the path of demon slaying, truly a model for our generation. I flew into the pit and with great respect removed his storage bag. Rest easy, fellow Taoist Chen. As for your final wishes, I shall inherit them all. From this day forward, I, the Qin family, shall never coexist with the demon race. Having said this, a flame erupted in the palm of my hand. Just as I prepared to help him depart more peacefully, my divine sense suddenly detected someone rushing out of the cave dwelling. Startled, I extinguished the flame, concealed my cultivation realm, and looked toward the entrance. Whoosh! A young girl in a yellow dress rode a flying boat as she emerged. Beneath the cyan spirit light, her beautiful face was filled with tension and wariness. She cast her gaze around, her eyes suddenly freezing, and she exclaimed in shock, "Why is it you? Where is that senior?" I gave her a strange look. Before questioning me, shouldn't you explain your own situation? Why did you rush out of the blood-tail wolf's lair? Nine Muling's gaze flickered and she replied guiltily, "Naturally, it was to slay the demon." Slay the demon? I was puzzled. Which demon did you slay and where? Does any of the carcasses on this ground have anything to do with you? Of course it was the demon in this cave dwelling, it's just that a minor accident occurred while I was slaying it. What kind of accident? She grew angry from embarrassment and glared at me. Why are you so inquisitive? Are we that close? You keep asking one question after another. Do you still think you are my fiancé? Before the words could fully escape her lips, her eyes caught sight of the mangled, bloody remains and her beautiful face turned deathly pale. Was that not the fellow cultivator we saw earlier at the entrance of the magistrate's office? He had clearly met his end. As a delicate flower raised in a greenhouse, currently at the 11th level of qi refining, she had evidently never witnessed such a gruesome scene. Indeed, Taoist Chen died in the pursuit of slaying demons. His death was honorable, and he is truly a role model for all of us cultivators. I spoke with a tone of feigned regret. Nan Muling pressed her lips together tightly, clearly struggling to accept the reality before her. Seeing that her Tao heart was wavering, I did not mind assuming the role of a seasoned senior. I lectured her on the truth of our path. The road to immortality is, by its very nature, an act of defying the heavens. From the very moment we set foot upon the immortal path, we have stood perpetually on the precipice of the underworld. The concept of struggle remains the defining thread from the beginning to the end. Today I kill and tomorrow I may be the one who is killed. It sounds cold and cruel, but that is the undeniable reality. A man like Taoist Chen, who died on the path of slaying demons for the sake of the people, is already more fortunate than the vast majority. After all, he left behind a legacy of virtue and will be remembered by the common folk. Perhaps he will even receive the comfort of incense offerings. There are countless other cultivators who disappear from this world in silence, unable to even leave an intact corpse behind. If you cannot adapt, if you cannot accept these truths, then no matter how peerless your natural talent may be, you will never achieve greatness. Because without a steadfast Tao heart, you will ultimately be reduced to nothing more than a handful of dust. I paused for a moment, lifting my head to gaze toward the 9 heavens, and spoke softly as if in a monologue to myself. My own Tao has become all the more resolute. No matter what, I must attain eternal life, even if it requires survival at any cost. Having finished my speech, I saw that she remained silent, so I shifted my thoughts and quietly turned to leave. It is truly exhilarating to act out such a deep performance and then vanish. The lessons of cultivation are not merely meant for show, and I had already traveled quite a distance. Nan Muling suddenly snapped out of her trance. "That is not right," she said. "You and I entered the Holy Land together and ventured out to slay demons together. Since when did you acquire such profound insight? And you even have the audacity to lecture me." I turned my head and replied indifferently. A senior brother once spoke these words, and I merely learned a thing or two from him. Nan Muling realized the truth and sneered. "So you were just parroting others. No wonder you sounded so full of yourself. Tell me the truth. Just how many resources have you swindled from the outer sect by using my sister's name?" I was stunned. What was she talking about? When did I ever swindle resources? Are you going to deny it? With your trash tier talent, if you weren't borrowing authority from the Deacon senior brother, how could you possibly know him? And how did you reach the 4th level of chi refining so quickly? Naturally, it was through my own strength. Is there something wrong with that? She sneered. Does someone of your status even deserve to speak of strength? Why wouldn't I be deserving? Are you still being stubborn? Nan Muling gave a cold laugh. Fine, let me test you. Let's see what kind of power you Qin Fan truly possess. My face darkened instantly. Even the most gentle person has their limits. If she is determined to force my hand, I would not mind revealing my cultivation or even silencing her permanently. She must have some form of protective Dharma treasure on her, which is how she survived in the Demon Wolf Cave. But that treasure likely excels in defense while lacking in offense. Otherwise, the blood-tailed wolf would never have had the chance to break through. If we were truly to risk our lives, it is hard to say who would emerge victorious. Oh, Nan Muling landed gracefully 10 zhong away from me. What do you intend to do? I narrowed my eyes. I will give you 2 choices. Nan Muling said coldly, the first choice is for me to beat you, then confine you in the county inn for 2 months. After that, your mission will be considered a failure, and you will be forced to work in the mines for a year. By the way, I should remind you, if you aren't fortunate, the labor at the mine you are heading to will work you to death. Her intent to intimidate was not even hidden. How typical, truly a case of thief crying stop thief. I gave a cold laugh. If you truly want me to disappear, why go through the trouble of confining me? It would be far more efficient to simply kill me. Wouldn't that be much more direct? My sister and I have no intention of killing you. You aren't even worth us making a move against. Is it that you don't want to, or is it that ridiculous arrogance of yours clouding your judgment? Nan Muling's expression sank. You are truly beyond saving. You think I am trying to harm you, but in reality, I am trying to save you. With your talent, you will never make it far on the path of immortality. In this world, there are countless people who could kill you. You 2 sisters only fear that I might tarnish your reputations. Let me tell you this. I have no interest in being involved with either of you. Once I leave this sacred ground, I shall personally come to your doorstep to annul this engagement. By then, the Qin and Nan families will have no further ties to one another. My gaze was piercing, my tone resolute and unyielding. Nan Muling's expression shifted slightly before she scoffed. A lightning physique is the most fragile of all. Boasting is easy for anyone. If you truly have any backbone, then leave this sacred temple at once. Perhaps then I might look at you with different eyes. Otherwise, in my view, you are merely feigning retreat as a tactic to continue clinging to us. You want me to leave? Unless you kill me, you truly have no idea of your own limitations. Seething with rage, she produced a deep azure spirit talisman, prepared to strike, but suddenly glanced toward the forest, her expression wary. Someone is approaching, I remarked, having sensed them long ago. I spoke with a hint of mockery. With such a commotion here, do you think few will be drawn to this place? By the way, I shall offer you a reminder. The Xuan Jade fruit was right at the cave entrance, but now both spirit fruits have vanished. Tell me, what will the cultivators arriving here think? I fear they will strike at both you and me without hesitation. What do you think of that? Nan Muling's expression flickered rapidly. A moment later, she glared at me with icy resentment. Consider yourself lucky. She withdrew the spirit talisman and commanded her spirit boat to descend at her feet, saying, "Get on." I was momentarily stunned. Why would she bring me along while fleeing? I intended to beat you to vent my anger, but since time is short, I shall spare you for now. However, you are strictly required to remain for the 2 months of training. I helplessly reminded her, if the 2 of us flee together, the consumption of spirit energy will not be insignificant. It matters not if you cannot run quickly. This spirit boat of mine contains a spirit stone core. It was refined and improved by my master specifically for me. You and your lofty connections, I sighed, helplessly leaping onto the spirit boat. But, since you're offering a ride, I'll say this. You were far more adorable when we were young than you are now. Non-Muling's demeanor stiffened and she cold snorted. That was when I was young and naive. Cease your nonsense. She leaped onto the spirit boat, silencing any further chatter. She channeled her spirit energy, and with a roar, the spirit boat transformed into a beam of light soaring into the sky. This speed was far swifter than senior sister Yunrong's Qingfeng boat. Yet they had not traveled long before a cultivator at the great perfection of the 12th level of qi condensation appeared, pursuing them in his own flying boat. That person was not Chen Feiki. He was clearly another insidious fox who had been concealing his true cultivation level. Actually, you could just drop me off, I said. That way he certainly won't be able to catch up to you. I reminded her with good intentions, to which she snapped, Are you trying to teach me how to do my job? Yan Muling cast a sidelong glance at me. The truth is often bitter, but she would do as she pleased regardless. An hour later, Yan Muling soared through the sea of clouds, her speed showing no signs of faltering. The cultivators in pursuit behind us wore expressions of utter exhaustion, their faces pale. This modified spirit vessel of Yan Muling's was powered by a core of spirit stones. As long as there was a sufficient supply of spirit stones, it could fly indefinitely. The rogue cultivator could no longer endure the strain. His spiritual energy was nearly depleted, and he had no choice but to decelerate and trail us from a distance. Seeing this, Yan Muling decisively pushed her spiritual energy to its absolute limit. Whoosh! The spirit vessel transformed into a streak of light, leaving the pursuer so far behind within a few breaths that not even a shadow remained. At dusk, we arrived at an inn by the Huai River in Taoyuan County. Innkeeper, prepare a room for me. My friend intends to stay for 2 months. Yan Muling slammed 2 silver ingots onto the counter. The elderly innkeeper, overjoyed, personally escorted us to the finest heaven-tier suite. You may leave now, unless summoned by me. Do not allow anyone to approach this room. Yan Muling commanded. The innkeeper was momentarily stunned. Are all young women these days so impatient? As the door clicked shut, Yan Muling gestured toward the wooden bed and said to me, Get on the bed. I promptly spat out a mouthful of water. Her beautiful face darkened, and she snapped, What kind of nonsense are you thinking? I told you to sit on the bed because I do not have the leisure to sit here waiting with you. I will cast a formation to seal you away for 2 months. I shall return for you when that time has passed. Here is a vial of Anidia pills, enough to sustain you for half a year. Wiped the corner of my mouth and asked in confusion, You are sealing me away for 2 months, so why provide a half-year supply? I might forget. Without further ado, Muling raised her hand, launching 4 apricot yellow formation flags into the 4 corners of the bed. Boom. Boom. The flags erupted with a mysterious light, manifesting into an earthen yellow energy barrier that completely isolated the large bed. Having a powerful benefactor is truly an advantage. This formation is of significant value, though it is a pity the caster's cultivation level is so low. This is a second-grade mountain ceiling formation, bestowed upon me by my master. Even a cultivator at the great perfection of the 12th level of qi refining would be unable to break it. Rest easy here for 2 months, do not struggle in vain lest you injure yourself. I nodded. Seeing that I showed no signs of anger, she furrowed her brow and asked, Do you not wish to curse me? I have imprisoned you, are you not filled with indignation? I sighed in silence. What good indignation do? I had no intention of fighting her. At most, I would simply serve a year at the mines after 2 months. Molin's expression turned somber, thinking me stubborn and unyielding. She spoke coldly, I see that you are truly beyond saving. She feared that she might lose her composure from the anger I caused her. She turned and slammed the door behind her, and I immediately released my divine sense. Only after confirming that she had departed on her flying sword did I turn my gaze toward the formation's barrier. If the 12th level of qi refining could not break it, then the early stage of foundation establishment surely would not be an issue. I observed it thoroughly. Seeing no flaws, I took action immediately. The Shuhan sword manifested, and with a slight flick of my finger, I thrust it hard against the barrier. Boom, 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 powerful spiritual energy erupted from the blade, causing frost-like flowers to condense by the bedside. This formation was indeed sturdy, yet it was already showing signs of weakening. My eyes flashed, and I poured all my remaining spiritual energy into the strike. Crack, crack, the fissures on the light barrier began to spread, and it then shattered into fragments, dissolving into specks of light that vanished into nothingness. This Fengshan formation is truly remarkable. It is just a pity that it now belongs to me. I flicked my sleeves, retrieving the 4 formation flags. A radiant smile appeared on my face. With this in my possession, I need not fear those at the middle stage of foundation establishment. After a brief search, I stowed them away into my storage bag. I pushed the window open as night fell. The bustling scenery came into view, but I had no mind to admire it. Refining the sword pellet consumes a great deal of time, and I must reach the capital early. I drew the Shuhan sword and attempted to fly upon it. The man and sword became one, transforming into a deep blue streak of light that soared toward the 9th heaven. The speed of this flight was many times faster than ordinary travel. Magnificent, I shouted in exhilaration. Late at night, in the capital of the state of Sai, I landed in a deserted alleyway in Yangping Ward. I suppressed my cultivation realm to the 12th level of qi refining and headed toward the Shenbing Pavilion across the way. It is rumored that this place has the backing of the imperial court, so no one dares to stir up trouble. As soon as I entered, a searing heat rushed toward me, and the sound of iron being forged rang out incessantly. Young master, are you looking to purchase a suitable magical weapon? A sturdy shop assistant walked over. The shop assistant was momentarily stunned, never expecting to encounter such a significant patron. He inquired as to what grade of spirit tool the young master wished to have forged. A top-grade one, I replied. The assistant was astonished at the request for a top-grade spirit tool. Given my current cultivation level, this spirit tool is of the supplementary variety. It does not have high requirements for one's cultivation base. Supplementary spirit tools such as sword orbs are not restricted by cultivation level. The assistant suddenly realized that their divine armament hall indeed possessed masters capable of forging top-grade spirit tools. However, the cost for such a commission is by no means trivial. Perhaps the young master should prepare himself. It will likely require at least 1 million low-grade spirit stones, and it is possible the price may exceed even that. That is not a problem. The assistant respectfully gestured for the young master to follow him. At dawn the following day, after placing a deposit of 10 Foundation Establishment pills and 1 blood-tailed wolf, I rode my sword back toward the sacred ground. The forging of the sword orb would take at least 8 months, and I could not simply sit idly by and wait. 2 days later, I quietly returned to the sect to submit my mission report before retreating once more to my cherished room of discarded pills. Listening to the crackle of the earthly flames, the tension that had gripped my heart finally began to dissipate. I collapsed onto the rattan chair as if a great burden had been lifted from my shoulders. If someone were to ask, "Is this pill room truly not beneath you?" I would answer, "Wherever the heart is at peace, there is home." This dilapidated room remains the most comfortable place of all. This journey has yielded significant gain. I recall that within Lu Heng's storage ring, there was a jade slip titled Divine Fire Shadow Splitting Technique. This supernatural ability is quite extraordinary. It requires fusing the spiritual fires of heaven and earth to refine the 9 transformation dust fire. When engaging an enemy, one can manifest 9 avatars, each possessing 1/9 of the original body's spiritual power, which can be utilized for either deception or direct assault. Before the sword orb is completed, this happens to fill the void in my current repertoire of supernatural abilities. However, acquiring these earthly spiritual fires is no simple task. My gaze drifted toward the fire pit. The earth core fire is also a spiritual fire of heaven and earth, is it not? Although it ranks at the very bottom, even a cultivator at the peak of the Foundation Establishment stage could not endure it for half a breath. Its power is certainly not to be underestimated. Perhaps I should attempt to utilize this earth core fire. With my current cultivation, attempting to forcibly refine it is far too dangerous. I must act swiftly and decisively. I located a batch of discarded spirit explosion pills to refine in a furnace and prepared several Bodhi pills to sharpen my focus. It is time to begin. Swallowing the burst spirit pill, my spiritual power surged violently. The 5-colored scales shifted like a stampede of 10,000 horses. My meridians throbbed with the sensation of being sliced by blades, yet I suppressed the agony. I thrust my 5-colored hand seal into the pit of flames, grasping the hard electric fire flower. The fire danced nimbly in my palm. Without changing my expression, I consumed a Bodhi pill and swallowed the earth heart fire, feeling a searing, blade-like heat burn within me. The moment it entered my body, I clearly felt its terrifying nature. Fortunately, the overwhelming medicinal power of the burst spirit pill firmly suppressed the spiritual fire. I then drew upon 4 types of spiritual energy to expand my protective barrier, using my fire spiritual energy like an iron hammer to strike the spiritual fire repeatedly, refining away the impurities. Although the 5-element spirit root cultivates slowly, its spiritual power far exceeds that of an ordinary person, making the refinement process much safer. A single spirit root is favored because its cultivation is singular and focused, whereas those with multiple spirit roots must constantly suppress and eliminate chaotic spiritual energy, making them susceptible to backlash. The refinement process lasted for 3 days. On the afternoon of the 4th day, I finally refined the 9 transformation true fire. A pure white flame hovered within my dantian like a warm sun. I had finally succeeded. I stirred my consciousness and 9 faint fiery silhouettes sat cross-legged around the fire pit. Given my current cultivation level, I could only maintain all of them for half a quarter hour, though summoning a single one could be sustained for much longer. I wondered just how powerful this divine fire avatar truly was. Just as I prepared to test it, the side effects of the burst spirit pill surged over me like a tidal wave. I was in such agony that my face turned deathly pale. I hurriedly retracted the avatar and swallowed a healing pill. The pain subsided slightly, but it did not cease entirely. I collapsed onto the rattan chair, feeling helpless. I had underestimated the side effects of the burst spirit pill. It appeared I would need to rest and recover for a few days. For the past few days I had been sickly and weak, and the disciple who handed me the defective pill likely assumed I had been poisoned by fire and was near death. Old Man Meng heard of the matter and rushed over that evening with a basket of fruit to visit. A small warmth stirred in my heart. It seemed this stingy old man still possessed a shred of humanity. With a crunch, Old Man Meng took a bite of a pear from the basket and said, "I told you to go to the outer sect early, but you wouldn't listen. Look at you now, just about ready to kick the bucket, aren't you? You forced me to scramble to find someone to take your place. What a nuisance you are. But fine, forget it. Who else is the outer sect deacon if not me? Besides, for the sake of our brotherhood, I can handle your funeral arrangements. And I can even offer you a friendly discount. A 5% discount, what do you think? Naturally, if you were to leave a legacy for me, a 50% discount would be perfectly acceptable. What do you think?" My face darkened, and I gritted my teeth. If he continued to speak, I would have a strong urge to break every bone in his body. Do you think that is acceptable? Deacon Meng, I am merely ill, not on the verge of death. Not dying, you say? Old Meng sighed with profound regret. That is truly a pity. I have such an urge to strike someone. Very well, since you are fine, I shall not linger any longer. This dilapidated hovel of yours is so filthy, it is truly no place for a human to reside. Old Meng picked up his fruit basket, stood up, and brushed off his robes to leave, so he had come empty-handed and was leaving just the same. That reminds me, the Tai Shu Illusion Realm is about to open again. Your current strength is quite decent, so you should go and test yourself when you have the time. Before departing, he left me with that reminder. The Tai Shu Illusion Realm. My heart stirred slightly as I had been so busy lately that I had completely forgotten about it. It is an illusory formation established by an immortal within the Holy Land. Old Meng had introduced it to us before. The Tai Shu Illusion Realm opens once every year. It serves both as a training ground for disciples and as a reward for those with significant ability. As long as one possesses a disciple token, even a servant disciple can enter the illusion, which creates a separate world of its own. Inside, there are spirit beasts with cultivation levels equivalent to your own. The more you slay, the greater the backlash of spiritual energy you receive. If you manage to place in the top 10 on the demon slaying ranking, you will receive the reward of a spiritual energy infusion. The higher your rank, the longer the duration of the infusion. 10th place receives 2 breaths of time, while 1st place receives 20. This has a miraculous effect on breaking through one's cultivation bottleneck. This illusion realm is absolute in its fairness. It is impossible to conceal one's true strength. The spirit beasts will always possess a cultivation level matching your own. To prevent jealousy among fellow disciples, one may even use an alias. The Tai Shu Illusion Realm only remains open for half a month. If one misses it, they must wait another year. I am currently at the early stage of foundation establishment. If I receive the spiritual energy infusion, my cultivation will undoubtedly see a significant advancement. Therefore, I grip the token tightly, steeling my resolve. I simply cannot enter using my identity as a mere laborer. Doing so would surely reveal my cultivation level and alert my superiors. I have no choice but to rely on this outer disciple candidate tag. For now, I must acquire more medicinal pills to nourish my body and accelerate my recovery. Although I have nearly fully recovered, the requirements of the Tai Shu illusionary realm necessitate this expenditure. At the Yuhua Peak cave dwelling of Nanmo Tuyet, Nanmo Lin wielded a high-grade Dharma sword. As it hissed through the air, it left countless afterimages across the courtyard. Nanmo Tuyet looked on helplessly, asking, "You clearly have your own training grounds, so why must you come here to practice? Every time you finish, I am the one left to clean up the mess." Nanmo Lin retracted her sword and giggled. "Didn't I already explain the reason, sister? Since your cultivation is higher than mine, you can clean up much faster. Think of it as helping me save time for my own practice." Nanmo Tuyet sighed. "I truly have no way to deal with you. After all, I am your doting elder sister. My dear sister, do you think I can secure first place on the outer sect demon slaying ranking?" Nanmo Lin leaned in affectionately, clutching her sister's arm. "You are already an inner sect disciple with a powerful master to rely on. Your magical artifacts are countless, and the techniques you cultivate are extraordinary. Although your realm may be slightly lower, the ranking does not account for cultivation stage. It only calculates the number of beasts of corresponding levels that have been slain. Based on your overall strength, I doubt any other outer sect disciple possesses greater combat prowess than you. Securing first place should pose no problem at all." "I think so as well," Nanmo Lin replied with growing confidence. "If I can receive the 2 breaths of spiritual energy infusion, I will surely be able to break through to the foundation establishment stage." Nanmo Tuyet shook her head in warning. "You always aim for things beyond your reach. An infusion of spiritual energy is not as beneficial as you believe. While it may increase your cultivation rapidly, it leaves your foundation unstable, making it difficult to control your power. If you choose to break through now, there is a high probability of a spiritual energy backlash, which could damage your Dantian." These were the words of my own master. How could they be incorrect? Nanmo Lin's expression shifted slightly. "Is the situation truly that grave, sister? In that case, I suppose I should wait a while longer until I am truly stable before attempting to break through." Just as they were speaking, a glacial blue, sound-transmitting jade slip pierced through the defensive array and arrived before Nanmo Tuyet. Nanmo Ling exclaimed in surprise, "Sister, isn't this your personal sound-transmitting jade slip? Other than you, when have I ever given them to anyone else?" A shadow of gloom flickered in Nanmo Tuyet's eyes. She retracted the jade slip and spoke calmly. "It was senior brother Jiang. I required his assistance with a few matters previously, so I gave him a few sheets. You should remain here and continue your cultivation. I must visit him for a moment." 5 days later, the bells of the Fengfei Pavilion chimed, and the Tai Shu Illusion Realm officially opened. One only needs to channel spiritual energy into the token to reveal the entrance to the realm. Should one encounter danger or once half a month has passed, you will be safely teleported back out. I gripped the outer disciple candidate token tightly, my heart racing with anticipation. Since this token was issued for outer sect missions, it must be linked to the various formations within the Holy Land. If my assumptions are correct, this token should function as intended. I drew a deep breath and channeled my 5-colored spiritual energy into it. The token erupted with a streak of violet light. The spatial fissures before me began to expand, and then collapsed with a thunderous roar, revealing a shimmering veil of water. It worked. My eyes gleamed to guard against any sudden ambushes. I drew the Shuihan sword while simultaneously commanding the Huoyan shield to emit a brilliant red light for protection. Fully prepared, I stepped into the veil of water. Swish! A flash of white light blinded me. As the scenery before me cleared, I found myself standing on the edge of a cliff atop a mountain wreathed in clouds. Below, an endless expanse of forest stretched out before me. The spiritual energy in this world is, in truth, slightly inferior to that of the Holy Land. Having assessed the situation, I am fortunate to have enough Peiyuan pills, and the spirit stones I took from Luheng are sufficient to establish a small spirit gathering formation. 1/4 of an hour has passed, yet no demonic beasts have appeared. Perhaps it is because I have extended my divine sense quite far, and there is no movement within a radius of 1 mile. I withdrew the token and delved into it with my divine sense. First, I shall register a pseudonym Daojia. The rankings of the 100,000 outer sect disciples have not yet been fully settled. My name sits at the very bottom, yet you, Mo Ling, have already managed to slay 3 beasts at the 11th level of Qi refining. Which master's disciple is this to be so formidable? I am utterly astonished. The illusionary realm has been open for less than 3 hours, and already 3 beasts have been slain? Wait a moment, Mo Ling. This name sounds familiar. Could it be that girl, Non-Mo Ling? Is it possible that because she received the spirit energy infusion, she had enough connections to gain special entry into the outer sect's demon-slaying ranking? I furrowed my brow. An inner sect disciple, having been mentored by a great power, is now coming to the outer sect to compete for rankings? Is this not simply cheating to bully the weak? Boom! While I was deep in speculation, the sound of a violent collision echoed from afar. I withdrew my divine sense and looked over, only to see a colossal monster charging frantically through the forest below. It was a Foundation Establishment early-stage black-water python, over 10 zhang in length, thick as an adult's waist, with scales as hard as black stone. Its vertical earth-yellow pupils flashed with a bloodthirsty red light. Whoosh! It sprang upward, turning into a meteor, surging straight toward the mountaintop, its blood-red maw gaping wide, its fangs gleaming with a cold light as a stench of decay rushed toward me. My expression shifted slightly. This illusionary realm is truly too realistic. It has even manifested the creature's foul breath. Ugh! I retreated rapidly. I activated the Flamerock shield, which emitted a brilliant screen of light. Boom! The black-water python slammed into the barrier, causing me to be instantly knocked back. Fortunately, the Flamerock shield was sturdy enough that I remained unharmed, and it even left the black-water python dazed and growling, its dangerous aura surging even higher. From behind, the beast was gathering a cold, icy blue light. It was a mutant with the ice attribute. I was somewhat surprised. It is a pity this creature is manifested from spiritual energy, otherwise, its demon core and carcass would fetch a high price. Whoosh! A torrent of frost erupted, bone-chilling cold, and to my surprise,